Good afternoon and welcome to. Good afternoon and welcome to the. Oh, hold a minute. That's confusing me. I'm getting my sound coming back. I think I know why that is. So just give me a second. I do apologise, everyone. I'll just fix that. Right. I'm going to try that again now, only without the obvious schoolboy error of leaving um, the Twitch stream open at my end so I can actually hear it coming back through my headset. So let's pretend that never happened and let's go again. Good afternoon and welcome to our weekly Fantasy Age game in which we'll be playing Fantasy Age Valley of the Whispering Titans. Originally written by Jesse Decker, this version does have some heavy modifications for our purposes. I'll be your games master for this afternoon. I'm Brian F. Irving from Gethsemane Games and DH9 Radio. The music you'll be hearing is by Tabletop Audio and Nox Arcana. The adventure, as mentioned, is from Fantasy Age Layers by Green Ronin Publishing and is the Valley of the Whispering Titans. Your cast for today are Patrick Heaviside as Curge Razorclaw, Louise Morris as Nicholas Marty, Sean McGuile as Alderon Talaran, and the cast as Tamara Greyhawk. The adventure so far, the party have journeyed into the Valley of the Whispering Titans in an attempt to find an old friend from Curge Razorclaw's youth who the mountain folk claim may have wandered into this valley some 10 years ago. The valley itself was largely unknown to most people except some of the mountain folk. It was considered to be a cursed valley where dire things happen. Certainly on their arrival, the party have found exactly that and have been subject to repeated attacks by strangely mutated animals, and in some cases just very aggressive animals. They most recently engaged a horde of the creatures at the second of two titanic skulls on the valley wall, and half of the party were holding off the onslaught while the other half were completing a magical ritual to depower the skull, which appears to have worked. We rejoin the party after the din of battle has cleared from the air, the smoke has subsided, the ritual is over, and they've spent a little bit of time resting in order to decide on what their next move might be. So, welcome to the game, everybody. You're in the second of the two titanic skulls. I'll just take you over to the valley map now so you can take a closer look at it. It will resolve properly shortly. You're in the Skull of Fear, having recently held off that onslaught and managed to remove it from the power of whoever this mysterious valley master is. You've had a little bit of rest, so how are you all feeling at the moment? And do you want to immediately press on or try and recover a little bit more? Or what would you like to do?
I'm going... Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I could do with getting some magic points back.
Okay.
Because I'm on about half here.
Ah, right, yes, you probably could then. Okay, magic points. You can gain D6 magic points plus your willpower for every hour's worth of rest you have, or you'll recover all of your magic points if you have 8 hours worth of sleep and rest, recuperation. So the choices up the party. I believe you were going to say something as well, Patrick.
Well, I now have two things to say. The first is in response to that.
Mm-hmm.
We have leveled up, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't that take your health and magic points back to full?
No.
Not previously.
No, it doesn't.
Right. Is there any reason why I would be at full then?
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
then that's an issue.
A bookkeeping error, perhaps, but would be possible. That's an easy issue to solve, though. You take a rest for the evening.
Have a rest.
Yeah. Well, my other suggestion was I was initially going to say I wanted to send Quoth back to the Dryad in the first skulls that I know that we've succeeded. However, if we need to recuperate magic points to that degree, we might as well head back there, tell her in person, and spend another night.
Okay. So you'd rather spend the night at the Dryad's home in the first of the two skulls rather than in the skull you believe you've just secured.
Well,
So you've got sort of extra
we
supplies.
could still send the message, and she might actually come along and take a look at the place, and then we could sleep here. Either way, I'd like her to know.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think it's a good idea for her to know.
Okay. Sean, any feelings, any thoughts on the matter?
Okay. Sorry, I've got a user interface issue.
All right. Okay.
Oh, right. No, I don't. Right. Okay. That's yeah. It's just like I've clicked and dragged on the chat, and it then detached it and put it on top of the pet, and I'm like, where's that come from?
I did that at least twice last week, possibly 3 times, and I think I did it a couple of times the week before, and yet in all the other games I've ever run, I've never accidentally detached the chat. But I've done
That's
it
the
twice
first
in
time
this
I've ever
campaign,
done it.
in 2 separate games in this campaign.
Yeah.
I've occasionally
Okay.
deliberately detached the chat, but I just in this one I just seem to keep doing it accidentally. I don't know why. Okay, so yes,
I have no objections to either plan, but I don't know. Should we leave this skull unattended? I mean, we're going to have to do that anyway.
Better that it be somehow garrisoned when we leave, and
But
the
no.
the ideal person to do that would be our dryad friend, possibly growing something within it to keep things out. Whatever she's done to her own to keep things out, she could possibly do here.
See, personally, I'm of the opinion that we should send a message back to her and stay in here for
Yes.
now, rather
Okay.
than leaving and then having a double back.
Yeah, I'm more inclined to think that as well myself now. Yes,
Just we're halfway to the next one.
Yeah.
I'll dispatch Kurge with a written message
Quote.
attached to his leg.
it's
Did I say Kurge?
You did say
Yes.
Kurge.
I'm not dispatching myself. I'm dispatching Quoth.
Right. Okay.
But you could turn into a bird and you could fly with a message and drop it off. But yeah, okay.
But then
Well,
we wouldn't recover his magic points.
That's costing magic points and not making use of my familiar, which has cost leveling up points. He needs to earn his keep.
It does need to earn his keep.
Needs to earn his little pieces of meat that I keep for him.
Yeah. I mean, bear in mind you could have had something like a wolf or a bear or something as your familiar. So the fact that you picked a raven rather suggests that he needs to pull his weight. In fact, he probably needs to pull a little bit more than his weight.
Well, I could have had those things, and we could have had a really powerful fighter for the team. But narratively speaking, we'd met Kurge, we'd met Quoth, and
No, I totally agree.
it'd become like a very affectionately regarded character. So it felt right.
I totally agree. Also, when you level up sufficiently, you can always get a second animal familiar, I believe, when you hit Master in Beastmaster. I'll double check that. but
Yeah,
I think that's right.
so.
Okay, so you're sending Quoth back with a message. Okay, so he sits patiently watching you write the message, and then you attempt to attach it to him, and he's like watching curiously with his head tilted to one side and then the other side, and he's cawing at you in an occasional flap of the wings. You're not quite sure what he's trying to get across, but what you have learned from the times that you've used magic to actually speak to Quoth is whatever it is, it's probably sarcastic.
Yes.
Okay, once you have attached it and explained to, actually you might have to cast it just to tell him where he has to go.
Well, I would ask if, as this is my familiar and they can do several tricks.
They can, yes.
He's not a combat familiar,
Nope.
by any stretch of the imagination. So, sending messages, we've seen Dahlia the White do it. Can communication, or at least being a courier, be one of his tricks?
Yes, I'm quite happy with that. quite happy with that. He kind of half understands you anyway. It's just that you can't usually understand him. So yes, I'm going to allow that. So Quoth takes off into the air and flaps his way west. I really must learn to tell me east from me west. Flaps his way west over towards the first of the Titanic skulls, where he expects to find your Dryad friend and deliver the message. That'll take him not that long, actually. It's less than a mile away. So as the raven flies,
winging its way westward.
yes, winging its way westward. It's not going to take him very long. It returns after about 20 minutes or so, minus one message, which is tied to his little foot. Just kind of hops in through the eye sockets of the giant skull, looks around the place, caws a bit, and then flutters over to your shoulder and sits on your shoulder, looking intently at the pouch where you keep all the little crow treats.
He definitely gets one for that.
Right, you are. You give him a crow treat, which he eats happily, and then he sort of hops off somewhere to park himself for a bit of a nap.
Well earned.
It doesn't appear to have brought a message back, but at least you know that you've informed Malosa that you've taken the second skull, and that you'd asked her to come if she could. So you're kind of hoping she will, but you don't know because she hasn't sent a message back. You actually don't know if she's literate, of course, is one minor problem.
Oh, that's a good point.
Oh, God.
Whoops.
Can she speak to the animals?
She can, yes. You know because you've seen her speaking to her boar.
Well, there you go, you see.
Then having seen Quoth with us, and then having presumably taken the message off his leg, it's like, oh, I can't read this. I'd best talk to him.
You would
That's what I
imagine,
was
yeah,
thinking.
you would imagine she'd probably done something like that. She seems pretty smart, so you would imagine that she would have come to that conclusion if need be. Yeah,
Either way, we need a night's sleep, and that's more than long enough for her to get here.
it is. Yes.
So we'll soon find out.
Just going to up my. There you go. That should do it. Okay.
And this is not. Yeah, I was going to say this is not another game where elves don't sleep.
I think it might be actually. Yes. They do need rest, however. They don't necessarily sleep as sound. I think they're more like cats in that they appear to be asleep, but they can be awake in an instant if
It's a trance thing.
if something occurs. Yeah.
This isn't something Nicholas picked up from his elf parent. He's like asleep and snoring musically all night.
It's like that musical whistle.
I love that. Yeah. Okay.
It's more of a
Okay, could I have a perception hearing test from everybody, please?
Perception hearing test.
Okay, Alderon's definitely picked up whatever it was. Let's see now. Nicholas hasn't. Kurge has. So Nicholas, you're quite right. You're still snoring away. Alderon, you're immediately aware there's somebody downstairs underneath the skull. You can hear the sound of very gentle footsteps and leaves rustling. Kurge, you're a bit slower on the uptake, not much. So it's not till the strange creaking noise of footsteps on the spinal column staircase that you...
But they won't be able to get up.
You would think not. However, as they approach, you see the vines that you've interwoven to block the thing just kind of and away and form like a portal through which you see Malosa the Fair emerge. At first a head and then her hands come up and help her up onto the into the skull itself as she climbs up. Just kind of looks round cautiously to see who's here and notices that you're both both awake at this point. So she proceeds to approach. I received your message.
Ah, excellent. Well, we have removed the controlling force that was causing the issue here.
So I sense.
So what we need to do is to prevent any retaking of the place. Whatever it is you might have done with your skull, your home, could you also do here?
I believe that I can, yes.
Excellent. If there's any help I can offer in that regard, I'm happy to do so.
I'm uncertain that you would be able to assist, but thank you for your offer.
My pleasure.
With that, she kind of starts moving around the rest of the skull. You notice that she seems to have brought various herbs and plants with her, some of which is lit, and the sort of fumes off these burning dried plants are filling the inside of the skull. Not to the extent that you're struggling to breathe, just to the extent that you can smell the aroma. It's very similar to incense. Couldn't think of the word there for a moment. Very similar to incense. And you mumbling more than speaking, so you can't really make out what she's saying, but it's kind of muttering under her breath as she goes around with some. It's very similar to what you've seen priests do. Similar sort of core concept, you think?
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of cleansing ritual.
It appears to be some sort of cleansing ritual, yeah. Come morning, you two have sort of drifted in and out of sleep all night. Melissa seems to have been busy. Eventually she sort of finishes what she's doing and she's peering out of the eye sockets of the skull. You were all awake in the morning, including Nicholas, who's very surprised to see Melissa because he didn't notice her arrival at all. Didn't hear anything, didn't smell anything, see anything, just slept through the entire thing, happily and merrily snoring away. So Nicholas kind of wakes up and notices Melissa, who's now kind of sat in an odd bird-like crouch.
Staring at him.
Staring at him. Yes.
Just what you want first thing in the morning.
Spooky or what?
Yes.
Inside a giant skull.
Inside a giant skull.
Oh, I'm not scared.
Oh, the horror.
Yes. So what would you all like to do now that you're awake? You have recovered all of your magic points. You can all also gain back some health. I will give you back 5 plus your constitution plus your level.
That would be
wonderful.
first breakfast, I think, is the order of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Okay. So you make breakfast for yourselves. You do your ablutions, clean yourselves up, have something to eat, get settled in, and realise that at some point during the course of the day you're going to have to venture out into that dangerous valley out there. However, you don't have to do that right this second, so you decide to take a little bit of a break to G yourselves up for it. What would you like? Cup of tea? Yep.
Could I look out of the eye holes and see if, like, you know how when we were in the first one, when I looked out of the eye holes, I kind of caught more of a glimpse of the next skull than I should have done, really.
Mm-hmm.
Can I see if something similar will happen up here? Just to see if there's anything hiding in the next one that we should be forewarned of or anything like that.
You peer out of the skull. You don't notice any strange magical sensations the way you did with the first one, and the vision you have of the skull from here seems to be what you would expect.
Okay,
so,
fair enough.
The only question really is when you say the next skull, do you mean the next one on this side of the river, the next one up the valley before you would cross the river, or do you mean the giant one across the the Oxbow Lakes on the highest point.
I mean, I think it makes logical sense for us to go for this one next. However, there is a
Agreed.
direct line of sight for this one, so could I have a peek at that too?
Yes, you can. I see somebody's labelling them, and initially misspelled B, which is quite interesting. So could you give me a perception seeing test for Skull
Yeah, I've
A
got that.
initially, please?
I don't have hearing, which is silly for Bard, but I do have seeing.
Okay, yes, that's passed with 4 stunt points, so you can take a look at the exploration stunts if you would like to.
Okie dokie.
And,
I don't have that open. Give me a second.
Okay, that reminds me, I don't have my master handout.
Page
open.
79, main book.
Just going to pop this out across the... so that doesn't obscure the view of the map for the viewers, but I can still see it on my other screen. Okay, so you're looking for... that's interesting. I haven't included those on my... there's some homework for me for later. Okay, so what you do notice in Skull A is that there is very much something moving around up there. You can see faint sort of green firelight.
Okay. I'm just gonna check what my other focuses are, because I'm thinking of using That Makes Me Wonder, but I'd need to use a different thing for that.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm seeing if there's anything that makes sense, which I don't think there is.
Okay.
We've seen green fire from the possessed animals.
Yeah.
You have, yes.
Ooh, actually.
Every time you kill one that ghostly thing emerges from, there's a flash of green fire in the vague form of a humanoid. And also you've seen green fire in the eyes of some of them as well. The corrupted boars sometimes even look as if they're on fire with green. Although you have noticed that the ones that appear to be burning with green fire always turn out to be the ones that are possessed by that strange ghostly creature that you suspect is the Valley Master.
Could I use the object of your attention for 3 stunt points, which gives me a +1 bonus to further tests to examine or perceive additional aspects of the object?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Could I do another seeing test for that?
I see no reason not to. Yes. Is there any particular thing you're specifically looking for this time?
Just anything helpful, really.
Okay, yeah, that was helpful in itself.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Is there anything that stands out?
Yeah.
Okay. Initially, looking at the skull, you don't really notice anything you didn't notice before. There's definitely movement up there. There's definitely a green firelight from the skull. You're mostly seeing it through the nostril gaps and through gaps in the teeth where there's occasionally a tooth missing, or just a gap where 2 teeth don't quite meet. Eventually, however, you start to look in the area of the skull and you notice something odd. Right? There's definitely animals around the skull. Corrupted animals, you presume. How they got up there is the puzzling question. Because from here, what you can see is a cliff with a plateau and then another steeper, taller cliff. There's no way those animals could get up there, which suggests to you that somewhere there's a hidden game trail that leads up there.
Or
Okay.
there could be a cave.
It could be.
I mean, that makes more sense than my immediate assumption, which was that, like, there's corrupted seagulls carrying corrupted boars up the hill, you know?
Well, yes, having said that, if anybody's ever played the fantasy version of Total Annihilation, one of the factions does exactly that. Well, they're not seagulls.
Total Annihilation Kingdoms.
That's
yeah,
the one.
I love that game.
Yes, I have actually.
Do you know what? When playing the original version of Total Annihilation, it once froze in my old computer. I had it on disk, and then the disk exploded in the drive.
My God.
Or you might say the Total Annihilation disc was totally annihilated.
Totally annihilated.
It's literally the only disc I've ever seen explode in all my time, but it just blew itself to pieces.
When you say disc, do you mean like CD or do you mean like?
Yeah.
CD, yeah, CD.
Oh right, yeah.
Just
There
split
was
into multiple pieces. I had to dismantle the computer to get it out.
yeah,
Anyway.
it's possible to overheat.
Yeah. Anyway, it would seem that there must be a route up to that skull that you can't actually see from here, but you're piecing that together from the clue of the fact there's no other way those animals could get up there, short of a giant bird carrying them up there.
Or a cave with a tunnel.
Or a cave with a tunnel.
Okay, for the tunnel.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, as well, that further bit of description of the green flame thing is helpful as well, because we now know that if the inside of the skull is on 2 levels, then it's on the bottom level rather than up next to the eyes.
That's correct, yes, you do. So you're not seeing much of it through the eyes at all, mostly through the nasal cavity and the gaps in the teeth.
Right.
So, do I take it you're reporting all of this back to the rest of the party?
Absolutely, yes.
So, it may not be where the master is himself. It may be the centre of whatever he's using to control the animals.
Good point.
Skull of seeing, skull of fear, skull of...
Green fire.
Control?
Control, yes.
I'm trying not to make any vocalizations here that might give you a clue.
None of them are grey, though.
Sorry?
So none of them are grey.
No.
They're all sort of beige. So it's the skull of power, perhaps. Skull of corruption.
Power.
Louise, you mentioned you were going to take a look at the large skull that dominates the valley, the one that's on the highest point.
one.
That's kind of, yes, B.
Yes.
Skull B.
Is that one actually bigger?
Yes, that's a B, not something else.
It's very slightly larger. Primarily, however, it appears larger because it's looming above the landscape on the highest point of the valley. Well, the highest point of the inner valley, obviously, there's there's mountains that rise up a bit of a distance away, but hardly be a valley otherwise, I suppose. Okay, so 12 you got there, didn't you? Okay.
Oh, hang on. I didn't realise you wanted me to do another roll. 2 seconds.
Oh, sorry, was that not another rule?
That was the one from
Oh, that
Western
was the second one.
before.
Whoa,
Maximum
right, okay.
damage. Divine intervention.
Okay,
Everything about this one then.
the dice roll of the beast there. In that case, just give me a second. I'm going to need to know a little bit more detail about that than I thought I was going to have to know. So,
Your
I just need to
X-ray
check.
vision power kicked in.
Clearly he inherited elf eyes from his dad.
Yes, so it would seem. Okay, so that's not that one. That's not that one either. Ooh, right, it's not that one. There seems to be a skull missing from my notes. Hold on. It's in the book somewhere.
That's a sentence.
Your notes have been decapitated.
So the skull of fear, which is
One of
where
our
you're
skulls
at
is
now.
missing.
Deeper into the valley. Nothing. The thin thing.
So
skull.
open-minded his skull fell out.
And that's interesting. Where's the there it is. Oh, how odd. Okay. Okay. The thing you notice about that largest of skulls is that there also seems to be movement there as well.
Oh.
So both of the two skulls that you're able to observe from here appear to have someone or something in them.
Well, that's interesting. I'll
It is.
definitely relay that back.
Okay, you've also got 6 stunt points if you'd like to decide what you're going to use those
I
on.
take it the second moving thing isn't green.
The second moving thing is not glowing green, no.
Right.
It's difficult because it's morning, so the sun's kind of risen from the east. It's difficult because you're looking into the sun to make out clearly what colour the occasional human form that you see in one of the eyes of the large skull is wearing, but there does seem to be a human or humanoid form. And it doesn't appear to be glowing, so you're pretty sure it's not whatever that creature, that ghost is that keeps escaping the possessed animals that keep attacking you.
I can't tell if it's Kurge's friend that asked for help, can
It depends on what stunts you're using.
I?
Eyes of the eagle.
Yeah.
With
Oh.
the flourish as 4, the manner of your success is impressive to those who are nearby. To
Okay.
watch you have a +1 bonus to oppose tests
Okay, well,
against them.
they're all very impressed by the fact that you've seen so much detail in that skull, because they're
I'm
peering
very
out the
impressed.
window and they can't really see much.
Well, I haven't rolled. If I was
yeah.
to roll, I could roll better than that. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
But I'm not going to roll.
they are going to roll. But
Possibly
but no,
better.
beyond that, you can't tell if it's his. It's too far away to tell if it's his friend. Also, I noticed you pointing at the other skull. Up
Yes.
until now, including now, all you've ever been able to tell is that there is a skull there, just the top of it. That's all you can see on Skull C. It's kind of enshrouded by the tops of these very high trees beneath it. And there's actually some trees growing on top of that skull as well. It's very difficult to tell it's actually there.
I'm inclined to think there's a skull for whatever this possessing force is. There's a skull that the master lives in, and the other skull is a prison. And that's where my friend is.
See, now this leads to a conundrum as well, because we know this one has green creepiness and loads of animals and stuff in it, and may be hard to get up to. But like, surely this one is also hard to get up to, but isn't surrounded by all of that, and it could be Kurge's friend. So, do we want to go over there first and potentially free him, and then double back, or what?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's my way. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say this map that we're actually looking at.
Yes.
Right. On here, do we have access to the detail as such on that map in as much detail as we can see all of the Far Valley Edge and the other bits? Because to me, looking at the map, this looks like a route up.
Right, you can't. You're right. You can't actually see that from where you are. It's concealed behind the trees.
That's too meta, right? Yeah. Okay, that was just. You know what I mean? It looks.
We did consider in the first issue messing about with dynamic lighting on this or the older fog of war, but it was complicated because of the three-dimensional nature of the valley. Some things you would be able to see, but if you use the dynamic lighting, you wouldn't be able to see them. We went with this in the end. But you're quite right. That's an area that you can't actually see from where you are. Yeah.
Right. So the most immediate area thing that we can see is the skull up here, which we called Skull A. Right. We can see Skull B because it rises above the valley.
Yeah.
And we know there's a skull over here, but not necessarily how to get to it because of all the thick tree. I mean, that is the thickest piece of forest there is, apart from further up this way, over here. That seems to be the most densest patch of trees.
Yeah, that's right.
I would say
some of the tallest ones as well are there.
Yeah, it's kind of there. There's conflict within me at this point. In that, I would say dealing with and getting rid of the creepy green thing, would make things easier in the long term, because if that takes away the possessed animals,
yes,
there's no thing there. However, we know there are some mosquito things somewhere lurking in the swampy area to the immediate south of us or to the southeast there. Are they actually necessarily corrupt and evil, or is it possible to actually have an alliance with them?
You don't know that about the
Because that might
swamp
be
dwellers,
something to
actually.
ask
Yeah.
Melissa. What are the nature of the beasts of these creatures? Is there in the swampy area? Because that's the least treed area,
Mhm.
and we'd have to trek through. Either we're going to have to, like, I'll draw on the map again. I do apologise for doing this.
No, that's
We're
fine.
going to either have to track up the bank here to get to this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or we'd have to go through somehow where the trees are less to get up onto the ridge there.
Yeah.
And having done this skull over here, our vision of this direction is then enhanced. Looking across the way, I don't know. It's one of those things. There's where the conflict is. Do we take out Skull A first?
We don't know. Sorry.
I was just about to say, is it worth having Quoth do some recon?
Well, I can ask him to do that, but I'm going to have to cast magic to really be able to talk to him. I was going to suggest we do need reconnaissance. I can do it myself. I can take on a flying form and see it for myself, like we did at the tower. As far as what order we do these things in, I think the one with the green fire is likely to be the center of that power. And wherever else we go, we're going to be harassed by possessed creatures. If we don't deal with it now, we'll be dealing with continual harassment wherever we go. Let's get that nipped in the bud. And as far as the mosquitoes go, if they're not corrupt yet, within this valley, there's entirely the chance of them being so. And I would think if we use the herbs and burn them, which are supposed to repel them, a corrupted version wouldn't care. They'd still come for us. We need to clear out the corruption first. I'd like to find out where my friend is, so it does mean me taking the risk of going and flying. Do I take it it's now dawn?
Yes. It'll be a little bit after now because you had a bit of you had a light breakfast or a heavy breakfast if you prefer, and rested and whatnot in kind of gearing up sense. So it's after dawn. It's early morning still though, but it's after dawn.
At no point during me taking beast form have I felt influenced or as though somebody was trying to possess me.
Not yet.
Is that right?
That is
Not
correct.
Yet. Okay.
Yes.
Yet.
Well, the Skull of Fear had like a maximum radius on it, didn't it?
That's right, it did. Yeah.
So it may be that the quote-unquote Skull of Control likewise does.
Yes, it could be.
There is a risk to me in animal form
Yeah.
of being taken over.
If you start to feel weird, immediately turn around.
Yes.
I would suggest potentially, to fly CBA.
That makes sense. Do the riskiest thing last.
Yeah. And I would take a circuitous, circular sort of route.
Yeah.
For want of a better word, and I would go maybe. Oh no, that's a block. I want to actually draw a line. Freehand, like. That.
Okay, so you're approaching at sort of a wide arc.
Rather than fly across.
Where the mosquitoes are.
Ooh, that's Widdershins. Is that unlucky?
Make an arcane knowledge law, and I'll tell you. Intelligence, arcane knowledge.
That's the way the stars go.
Arcane law, I should say.
I don't have arcane law. I've got musical order and protection.
Then that's not going to help.
Nah.
Okay, Kurge has made the roll, however. It is considered unlucky in some cultures, just not in yours.
Right.
Fair enough.
So he's certainly heard of it from other cultures.
I'll
But,
try not to delete the party token.
Yes.
Right, I'm happy enough with that as a plan for initial reconnaissance to try to find out where my friend is, where the master is, and what exactly is going on up at the Skull A may or may not be Skull of Control.
Okay.
While you do that, I'm gonna hang out in this eye socket and just try and keep an eye so that and see if anything happens, just so I can let anybody know. I can't help you, but I can say, hey, look, the Kurge has been eaten or something.
Kurge's flying animal form's been shot again.
So you're going to keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, from the eye.
From the eye.
Suck it.
Suck it to me. Okay. Anything else? Any questions you want to ask me before I change?
What are you going to turn into?
It's a good question.
Eagle, a hawk, a falcon.
Let's have a look. Right.
An osprey.
I can do a fair few of those. Hang on.
A gnat.
No, I can't do insects. I can do a raven, I can do a bat, a hawk, or an eagle.
Hawks and eagles have extremely good long-range vision, so you can stay quite a distance out. How far was the distance in from the Skull of Fear influence-wise?
You estimated it to be something in the region of 40 to 50 meters.
Yeah, eagle can easily see things in detail from 40 to 50 meters. So if you were flying above it.
Well, both hawk and eagle have the same perception, both with the seeing focus, so that's equalled. Hawk is, however, faster.
Yeah, got smaller.
It is smaller. It's got half the health. But I think if I'm going to be hit by some, we're not in a massive rush. And I mean, it's only 2 points in the difference on speed, so I will go for the but being smaller, I'm less likely to be spotted.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just fly in the sun.
Mm.
With the sun behind you, they won't see you.
Well, the sun's in the east, so.
Yeah, that's why you take a circle round.
Yes, but you were starting from. You'd starting by approaching Skull C from the west, I believe.
Yeah, high up though.
Okay, saying to Nicholas, take a look at the skies for me. Are there other birds?
Okay.
Have a look.
Make a perception seeing test, please.
Do you want me to have a look as well?
You can do.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Probably two sets of eyes would be better than one, wouldn't it?
You notice there are no birds within about 50, 60 meters of the valley, or the top of the skulls. Alderin, you know the same. Any birds there are out there are very high up. They're not approaching the valley. They're not getting any lower than about 50, 60 meters.
There you go.
It's going to stand out.
Yeah.
Not if you're high up, like another bird.
But if I'm too high up,
camouflaged.
if I'm too high up, am I actually going to be able to see anything?
Your eyes of an eagle.
You will have the visual range for that, yes, but bear in mind you're already quite high. Adding another 50, 60 meters, you will begin to have to worry about low-lying cloud. Although there isn't much of that today, to be fair.
The issue I see is not so much what I can see from that high up, but the angle. We're wanting to see into the skulls.
If you want to see into the skulls, you're going to have to get a lot lower.
Exactly.
Hawk is the way to go then,
Yeah.
It sounds like it.
because you could dive down.
Also, if you provided you see it coming, if you're speedier, you'll be able to get out of the way quicker.
And also, a larger object changing its inertia requires more energy. So a hawk would be far faster at A, turning, and B, being able to slap the brakes on and take off again and gain height.
The hawk does have a defense of 14 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if we imagine this kind of stat talk is sort of in character animal comparison and animal knowledge.
Hawks are going to be much quicker at turning, twisting, and manoeuvring. And gaining altitude will be quicker for a hawk to do.
Right then. Okay.
Just climb faster, probably.
Oh, a thing to throw into the mix, actually. I now have greater beast form, so I could take on an upgraded version of a hawk.
Elite mode.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if I would need it in this circumstance, but the more people who know about it, the more people who can suggest it back in some other circumstance where it might be required.
Fair enough.
Just so we know what resources we've got to operate with.
Yeah.
But obviously that's a much more expensive spell.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Casting lesser beast form.
Okay.
Form of a hawk.
Go for it. Okay, as you weave your powerful magics around you and pull the energy into yourself, you can start to feel your muscles tensing up and then changing form. You wouldn't say it's painful, but it's kind of uncomfortable. Eventually, you feel your large, bulky size compressing, which is in itself a disturbing sensation. Your fur is replaced by feathers. You can see your hands or paws withdrawn into wings and claws at the obviously feet and art the other way around. Eventually, you turn into a large hawk, shake your head a couple of times, and take off on your scouting mission. Would you like to draw your approach to the first skull, please?
I will follow the path that Aldrin
Suggested. Okay.
roughed out for me. Yeah.
Okay. Could you make a dexterity stealth test for me, please? And I'll see what the target number is for anyone to see you. Okay, so I'm going to be whispering this roll to myself for reasons which will become apparent to the players eventually.
No.
Probably. I will do if I can ever get the... There we go. So it is perception seeing test. Okay. So you approach the skull C, the skull you've never been able to get a clear view of. You approach that from the west. Sweeping in, you can see why you've never been able to get a clear view of it. It's massively overgrown. There are actual trees starting to grow out of the top of it. There are vines. They don't look like strangle vines, but you wouldn't be surprised if there's some concealed in there amongst the mass of other vines of creeping ivy and so forth that's just gradually overgrowing this skull to the point it's actually very difficult even close up to see that it is a skull. There are just bits here and there of the structure that are appearing through this massive overgrowth of plant life. You also begin to get a strange sensation. Can I have a self-discipline test, please? That's willpower self-discipline.
Right.
Yikes.
Yep.
Okay.
You rescuing 2 druids.
Yes. You begin to get this sensation that whoever this master is, he has come here and perverted the nature of this valley and twisted its animals and its living plant life and created this abominable hellscape. And how dare he be so presumptuous to think that he can do these things to this otherwise beautiful valley, and you should be the master here, not him.
Oh, no.
Skull of rage and indignation and hubris.
It's skull heaven 17. Temptation, higher and higher.
Right,
The higher and higher ones still be.
No, they're higher up.
So Kurge actually has those feelings. I am feeling
Yes.
like I should be the master of this place.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Skull of rage.
You're able to fight them off at the moment, but because you indulge them for a moment, and then you start to think, "This isn't right. This isn't me. This is not. These thoughts are not emanating from me. They're coming from somewhere." So you kind of shake your head slightly, which in hawk form was a bit of a mistake because it kind of knocks you off your flight path slightly, and you find yourself plummeting. But it does manage to clear your head, and you pick yourself up at the top of the trees. So you're just kind of skimming the top of the trees, which is the point at which you see. Let me see. straight through the skull's eyes into the internal chambers. Now, unlike many of the other skulls, it would be difficult to actually get in there, at least in the upper part of the skull, because between the outgrowths of bone inside the skull and all the roots from the trees that are grown nearby and are grown on top of it, and all the vines, it's actually quite cluttered in there. So the two skulls you've been to so far, you've been able to actually physically get into. This feels like something different. But you also notice two things on the plateau in front of it, which from a distance you took them just to be loose stones.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, on closer inspection, they're deliberately set out cairns.
Ah.
Oh.
So like burial markers or like
some
little
kind-
like shrines to ancestors or something?
Yeah, definitely some kind of marker or they have some significance, certainly, yes.
Okay. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just here. I'm just here to look and report back.
Okay. How long do you want to spend studying the skull?
Not long. I want to get onto the. I know roughly what it does and what's outside it. I can see that it's overgrown on the inside, and would be very difficult to get into.
Yes, it would. Could you give me a arcane law roll, intelligence arcane law test, please?
Certainly.
Ooh, 17, that's quite good. Okay, there are other sensations you get here. Sensations that are extremely faint, that were you not concentrating quite so heavily, you would probably not notice them. But oddly enough, you have a moment where you are reminded of someone you know, somebody who isn't here, but someone that you do kind of know. You're reminded of Adrienne from the Company of Light.
Shadows.
There doesn't appear to be any shadows as such, but there's just some sensation that's immediately made a vision of Adrienne pop into your head.
Okay.
You do feel, you're aware that you're thinking differently because you're currently in a bird form, so you're not quite thinking the way you would in your natural form. So you're aware that this is indicative that you have sensed something that reminds you of her. And you think you are on the right lines when you talk about shadows, in the sense that it has something to do with the same magical aura you feel when you're close to Adrienne.
Are the cairns casting shadows, or are I take it that they're like stacked stones? Is that correct?
The stack stones, yes.
Are there any runes? Are there any runes on the stacked stones? Are they rune
Yes.
stones?
There are, but you need to get closer and study them more closely. However, I will keep the arcane law roll that you've already made if you choose to do it.
Okay,
Dun, dun.
I'm going to take a risk.
Okay. You recognise some of the runes as you're down there. They are runes that you have seen again on Adrienne. Some of her accoutrements carry those runes. They're not the ones that she tends to focus on when she's casting shadow magic, though.
Fate magic.
Fate magic. There are definitely fate runes in amongst them. And the sensation, now that that's occurred to you, is that there is a strong sense of fate watching over. It's almost as if the gnomes were here themselves. This sense that fate can be manipulated here.
It's almost as though what themselves?
The gnomes, it's the Norse fates, essentially.
Ah, right. Okay.
So yes, you get the sense that that this is a place where fate magic might be more easily engaged in.
Okay. Well, I think I've learned all I can here safely for now. Moving on.
Okay. Moving on, you start approaching the larger of the skull that you have temporarily named Skull B. So just give me a second and I'll be making another hidden roll.
Scobie.
When I say hidden, these ones are even hidden from the audience, actually, because, yes, there is a reason for that too. In this instance. Well, it's not that hidden from the audience. The character sheet I'm rolling off is, but the roll is probably visible to them. That's okay. Okay. As you approach the other skull, you can see this figure that that Marty mentioned. Just suddenly kind of looks straight through one of the eyes directly at you. You realise that this figure has definitely seen you. The figure is vaguely reminiscent of something. Or someone that you recognise. It had a sort of conical hat on with ear flaps. It's bare-chested. Marty was right in their assumption that there would be green involved, because what little clothing this figure is wearing is green. Also, the figure's skin has a green tint to it, but it's not the healthy, natural green of the dryad. It's more the green of corruption, the green of mould or decay.
It's not the hog.
The creature's looking straight at you. It's definitely seen you and seems absolutely as surprised as you are. It kind of cocks its head on one side as if it can't quite make out exactly what's going on.
Flying straight up.
Right you are. Nicely timed, because as you fly straight up, an arcane blast arcs out of the eyes of the skull from this creature. Ooh.
Have I seen that?
Yes, you'll see this blast. The arcane blasts at 21. So, and with 6 stun points, so it's liable to hit. Even I haven't said that. You're at quite a good distance. So, I'm going to say make a dexterity acrobatics roll to avoid the hit.
Right. What is the resolution for dex used while in flight? Because I know there are some quite complex flying rules.
There are. Just use the bird form's dexterity, and if you either you or the bird have athletics, you can add that +2.
Right. Well, I've got dex 4 with a flying focus. So
right. Yes, you can add the flying focus.
Pulling on a 6.
Yeah. That's right. You can. If you can beat 21, he's going to miss you. If not, he'll clip you with it. Absolutely right. You bank suddenly in this. I'm gonna allow it. You bank suddenly in this blast of energy, just falls short of hitting you, and you're off and flapping your wings. Could you give me a perception? Make it seeing, I think, test, please.
Okay. I think the perception is the same for my normal form as it is. Yeah. So perception 3 with a seeing focus. Yeah, we're identical.
Okay. That figure that's just shot at you. That was Callum Resmill. Or it's what's left of him.
Okay, right.
But
then
that's not how you recognise him from. I mean, you made out the features, but it's not how you remember him. He's older than he should be. It's only been 10 years since you saw him last. He looks about 25 years older. His skin's turned that sort of sickly mottled green of decay. The eyes were kind of almost white and tiny restricted pupils. It looks like the corruption of the valley's got to him a bit.
He's the master's current vessel.
Yeah. Or he's being fed on by him.
Moving on to Skull A.
Because isn't that a fate magic thing as well? Can't you, use fate magic to sap people's energy, or is that Death Arcana?
There's a Death Arcana spell can do that.
Well, it could be that as well, then, yeah.
Bearing in mind that any given mage will know at least 2 Arcana. So,
yeah.
Except hedge mages, of course. Um, which reminds me, I was reading while I think on Louise. You know, you asked for your other character Bertie about gaining additional spells because you had the arcane dabbler
Yes.
thing, and Owen told you that you wouldn't be able to gain new spells.
Yeah.
Correct up to a point, but actually you can when you reach the higher levels of arcane dabbler. You will gain an additional spell. So you will gain a second and a third, but you'll gain no more than that. So the way you phrased the question, his answer was correct, but there is a slight.
Yeah.
I thought it was about spell points.
Might have been spell points you asked actually. Yeah. Okay, so you're heading for the next skull, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you? I'm just trying to remember what's in that one. Just rereading it. Ah, yes. Okay. Can you? Oh no, I need to make another test here. So it would be. Where is it?
Quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before, as he's soaring away up to the thing, this area of the map, I'll just ping on it where the centre is.
Oh,
there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
And also-
sorry to interrupt. I do beg your pardon. When you asked me to do that dexterity test originally
Yes.
for stealth,
Uh-huh.
I used my flat stats for my normal form. I didn't use my hawk form.
Ah, right. Okay. Never
So
mind. No, that's okay. That's okay.
Do you want that one to stand, or would you like?
It'll have to, because that's what
Fine.
I based the fact that he spotted you on.
Right. Right.
So, Sean, you
Right.
were saying, yeah.
This
Yes.
clump of rock here,
Yeah.
where I'm pinging,
Yeah.
is that another cairn?
It is another cairn, yes.
Right. Yeah, but I take it he's kind of like he's swung across the front. Right, I'll do another bit of drawing. So he's swung across the front of here.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, effectively.
Yeah.
That's kind of spottable.
Yes.
This area here, yeah,
Yeah.
is this a way up?
Yes,
Going-
but it'd be a very difficult wheel.
Right. So is while I take it while he's flying, I mean he's obviously able to see how the lay of the land is,
Yeah.
and how one would actually be able to climb up
It's
the
an
rocks.
easier climb than the cliff face elsewhere. It's
Right.
still not. It wouldn't be a simple walk. There would be parts you'd be climbing, but
Yeah.
it also wouldn't be a free fall. If you fell, it would be a slide rather than a. Because it's sort of very steep, scree slopes in parts. So there's bits where you'd still be climbing, but it would be an easier climb than trying to come straight up the cliff face on the other side of the cliff. Yes.
Right.
Okay, so I need to see if the person in the next skull spots you.
But is he able to get any detail out of that cairn which is on that point? Does that also have covered in runes?
He didn't get close enough to have a look, because I'm assuming you're not hanging around that skull you got shot at from.
The last thing I said I was doing was to fly straight up.
Straight up, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, you wouldn't be able to tell if there were runes on that one or not. You're imagining there must be. Okay, approaching the next skull, the closer you get to it, the more you can see of the green. Looking through the eye sockets, you can see that there is nothing in the upper half of the skull at all. It's not till you drop down and look through the nasal cavity you can see that underneath there's like a second level.
But so there's nothing in the upper part of the skull.
No.
And I haven't. And am I close enough to get in?
Oh yeah, you could do. Aye.
Right. I'll hop inside and I'll see if there's a staircase down.
Okay. There isn't. Unlike the others, there isn't. In fact, it's almost as if the area where the spine would enter here has kind of grown over and been like calcifications formed over it, and closed it. So it's almost like a loft you can't get into, is the best way to describe it.
Right. Okay.
What you can do here, though, is give me a perception smelling test, please.
Okay.
You can sniff the air.
Yeah. Okay. So what you can definitely smell quite strongly is the smell of carrion, the smell of decay, the smell of dead flesh.
Yeah. And are these cairns outside?
There are more cairns outside than are shown on the larger map, and in fact there are actual standing stones around this one.
Right.
In fact, what I'll do is I'll take you over to that map.
Mm-hmm.
Let me have a quick look. It would be so many different skull maps. I've got to remember which one's which. It's this one here, and I'll need to bring your character in. So, Courage. There you go. You appear to have appeared as a crocodile.
No.
But you can flip that yourself to whatever form you want to change into.
That could be awkward for whatever it lands on.
Well, I can only see a square of black.
Okay,
Present time.
best turn your vision on that, I don't know. That might help.
Vision on.
That should do it.
Still just a square of black.
Okay. That's odd because I've just clicked
I
on
can try
it
and
and asked for
refresh.
Try refreshing because I've just clicked on it and asked for the view that you should be getting, and I'm seeing exactly what you should be seeing.
Okay.
Scroll in, scroll out.
There's usually two things. Let me see. Yeah, try scrolling in and scrolling out as well, actually. And if that doesn't work, then I'm at a bit of loss.
Nothing, I'm afraid.
Got
That's
token
very
vision
odd.
on. Ah, right, okay, let me just check. If everything's correct there, then the problem must lie with the map itself. So check the dynamic lighting's on and daylight mode's on. Yeah, you should be able to see. Ah, wait a minute, I've had an idea. I bet you don't have this set and set. Except you don't. Yep, that's right. Let me just see. There you go. Now you should be able to see.
I can.
There you go. That's odd because I took that direct off your character sheet, so it should have been set up properly to be on the character sheet in the first place, but I've obviously set it in the character sheet a little bit too soon, and I haven't finished setting it up right. There you go.
Is this inside the skull?
No, you're outside the skull at the moment. Where the crocodile is, that's outside the skull.
Right.
I
And
don't actually have a map of the upper part because I wasn't expecting anyone to go in there because there's no air.
right. Fair
I
enough.
have a map of the inner part, which were you to go in there through either the nose or the other entrance, you will then see it's currently blacked out on this section. There you go, in our birdie.
Right. Okay then. So standing stones. What kind of any runes on them?
Yes, there are. Excuse me. Yes, there are. That's this skull you're at, so I just need to see it.
Beast Arcana runes by any chance?
No, they're not.
Ooh.
They're not at all. Make another arcane law roll, so that's intelligence arcane law. And that's a definite pass. Okay, you easily recognize them as death runes. Death arcana runes.
Okay. with 5 points of stunts.
Yes.
I'll take object of my attention.
Okay.
I'd like to try to figure out exactly what the death runes are intending. What it is that they're attempting to do. Why they're here.
Okay, this is a site that's consecrated as a sacred ritual site to the Death Arcana.
Okay.
So death magic would be easier to cast here. All sort of things death related would be easier here. So if you were fighting in this area, for example, the likelihood, getting a little bit meta here, the likelihood of lethal spells and lethal blows would be higher.
Right. I get you.
So, in a sense, anything death related. To put that in a slightly less meta sense, the chances are that blows would find themselves guided more towards the vital organs here. Spells would be more deadly here. Wounds would tend to fester if they were caused here.
Yeah. Okay, so this large black area to my character's...
Is the skull itself, yeah.
Right.
Or the shadow cast by it, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not seeing any creatures around the area?
Not now, but Marty saw some earlier.
Yeah. So there were some here and now they've moved?
That would seem to be the case.
They've headed off towards the Skull of Fear, perhaps?
It's a distinct possibility.
I hope not.
Yep, they could be bearing down on your friends as we speak, for all you know.
Well, we'd spot them coming.
Marty was keeping an eye out.
Yeah.
Would you like to give me a perception test for Marty, please? You're all going to die, but not necessarily today, because there's no creatures heading towards you from there now.
Whew. So where on earth have they gone?
What
Wait,
is
from
this?
there? That was oddly specific.
Okay, there are no creatures currently approaching your position. Let me rephrase that.
You also got to remember that I'll be keeping an eye out for these things.
Yes.
What are these things on the squares?
Okay, the squares themselves are cages. There are 4 cages in all. There are 2 wolves, corrupted wolves, inside the bottom 2 cages, and there is a corrupted boar inside one of the other. You also
Right.
notice that the inside of the skull is illuminated by braziers, as well as by light coming in from outside.
Okay, so there's a bed. Oh, and there's some manner of spellcaster.
Yes, who
Right.
has noticed your approach and looks at you and says, "What have we here?" It's
Back
definitely
out.
the goat. Right, you're back out. You immediately turn around and fly straight up. Boom, gone. Boom.
Yeah.
Gone.
That was definitely the same ghostly shape you keep seeing emerging from the other corrupted animals when they
Excellent.
die.
Okay.
I say die, but one of the things you've noticed is once you kill them and he leaves, there is no sign of the rest of the body, just the skin, like
He's
the
a skin
skin.
rider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are also hanging up, they're not depicted on the map because I couldn't quite figure out how to draw those, but hanging up in the skull, there are some skinned animals and some pelts.
Yeah.
So just like
spell components.
yeah,
What did I enter through a gap in the teeth?
in the teeth. That's exactly right. It's as if somebody's knocked out 2 of its teeth in the side, and that's what you went through.
Right. And there are no other points of entry around the perimeter other than
The nasal cavities at the front
tooth,
you
yeah.
could get in through. You would be coming in
Right.
slightly above head height on ghostly green bloke.
Right. Well,
Surprise.
he's
Technically, there would be
he's-
about sort of here-ish.
he's on the lookout for me now. He has seen me.
Yes, he appears to have seen you.
So I've lost any kind of element of surprise.
Yeah.
I've I've seen as much as there is to see safely, I think.
Okay, yeah. You think that's probably the case?
Could these standing stones be defaced so that their effect was negated?
Yes, it could be. Bring a hammer and chisel up here, and you could do it pretty rapidly. I mean, not as a
Right.
hawk, obviously, but
No.
you know what I mean.
I'd need to bring a stone packer.
Yes.
Right, okay. I think I'll head back to the Skull of Fear.
Okay. You head back to the Skull of Fear. Oddly enough, relieved to get back there.
Yes.
That one. That one. There you go. The rest of you are, Nicholas Marty will notice at first the approach of a high-speed hawk heading straight for the eye
I'll
socket.
dodge out of the way of that.
Right you are. You dodge out the way as this high-speed hawk emerges in through the side of the, in through the eye sockets of the skull and lands in the middle of this skull. I assume you're turning back into Kurge form?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You see the hawk begin to sort of pulse and shift, and then the feathers become less defined as feathers and more furry. The body begins to swell and expand. And after a moment's time, you see a large bear-shaped humanoid who looks very much like Kurge standing right in front of you.
Imposter.
How do we do it to you?
He quickly appraises you of what he's seen. What would you like to do?
Right. Okay. Quick question then about the Skull of Green fire guy.
Yes.
If somebody was in the upper level,
Yes.
is it possible for anything else to climb up into it from down below?
Only
That's
if
a
they
four-legged
climbed up.
animal.
Only if they climbed up through the eye sockets, and four-legged animals wouldn't be able to. No.
Right. Also, if you were on top of the skull, could they get you?
No. You would need something that could either fly or climb to get up there.
Right.
God, I'm on edge now after all that. Someone moved there and I thought it was a spell effect and we were being ambushed.
Right. Okay. So if he turns into a giant eagle and drops us all off on the roof.
Yes. You think you're on edge? I just turned around to pick something off the bed behind me to discover the cat looking straight at me.
Oh, was it you that moved?
No, it wasn't me that moved. That was after that. I think that was Patrick.
Yes.
Hey.
I moved there because my gas lift chair just decided to unlift me.
I had that sinking feeling.
I did have that sinking feeling, yes.
It was Titanic.
Okay,
Any
so what's
chance?
everybody want to do?
Is there any chance of Melora coming with us?
You ask her, ask if there's any chance that she could come with you, and she looks kind of crazed at you and says, "None, no."
Okay.
Quick
Yeah.
question for her though, right? The vines in below in the cavity, skull cavity below, right?
Yeah.
They don't go for her
No.
because she's not animal.
That's
as it were.
correct, yes.
Yeah, so she wouldn't have a problem passing through them at all in any way, shape, or
None
form.
whatsoever. They don't even register her existence unless she wants them to. In
Right.
which case they would still not see her as lunch, because
Right.
to her to them she appears as a plant, not an animal.
Right. And that would also probably be true of the other plants within the rest of the woodlands across the river.
Yes, you would think so. Yeah.
Is there any way we can pretend we're plants?
I can talk to plants and I can make plants grow. Can't turn into a plant.
So there's no plant shape.
Not that I have.
I don't think you'd get very far if you were a plant, like.
Potted plant. Like in
Roll towards the enemy.
It would be a great disguise.
wild surge magic.
Bugs Bunny bush creeping along.
It would give you a maximum radius.
Yes.
I turn myself into a hanging vine and I just sit here on the ceiling waiting for the victims to go past.
Like a Half-Life barnacle.
Or one of the
Right.
barnacles type creatures in the caverns that we ran across.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
That was
Bombs
pretty
away a stalagmite. Tight.
Yes.
right. So what are we doing then? What's the plan?
Well, there are there any cairns around this skull?
The skull that you're currently in at the moment, if they are, they're overgrown and you didn't notice them. You could go take a look.
Let's take a look.
Okay, make perception searching tests for me, please.
Yeah. I'll be outside then doing the same.
You notice that now, whilst you're with Melissa, as long as she stays within a certain radius of you, the vines don't come for you. So if they slither towards you, she just waves a hand and they slither away again.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
See, Nicholas is of the opinion that that's not down to her. It's just because we fed them. You know, they see us as friends now.
Right, yes. There is a cairn
Those
near.
delicious sky raisins.
There is a cairn nearby. It's over here. You initially overlooked it because there's so many fallen rocks from the cliff face around.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously a bit further down there's some rocks that were have been gathered and deliberately positioned as cover, because you know that was one of the cover positions the enemy took when you fought them, or started
Okay.
them anyway. But this is one of the cairns, yes.
Let's take
Just
a
it
look.
wasn't obvious. Okay, let me just
I'll
take...
have it unburied and find out what the runes are on it.
Okay.
If I lick it, can I take its power?
If you what it, sorry?
If I lick it, can I take its power?
No, you can't.
Damn.
It's like
It's
tear
Medallion
all
5
over
rating.
again.
It's place of power.
Make another intelligence arcane lore roll for me, please. $16. That's a good pass. Okay, so two things that you notice there. There are runes that seem to be very, very ancient and relate to wild things in general. There are also runes of both Shadow and Death Arcana.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first one I've seen where it's a combination.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Right, so we've seen Shadow and
Wait,
Death.
wait. Hold on a second. This is a valley.
Yep.
And the arcanas are shadow and death.
Yes.
Yay, though I walk
And
through
we
the
are
valley.
walking through it.
The
We are walking through the valley of the shadow of death.
And Fate.
Do you fear any evil?
Yes.
No? I'm a carefree elf.
Yes.
Ghosts of men do not concern me.
So, what would you like to do now you have made your discovery?
You should have an elfy level of fear.
Oh, dear me.
If we note them down, can we do anything with that? It's not like a spell or anything, is it?
No, it's not like a spell as
No.
such. Well, no, it's not like a spell as such.
Which
It's like part of
is-
one almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disrupting the runes, would it be possible to do so by changing?
Yes. Yep, it would. Because the cairn's not sort of grouted together or anything, you can just like move the stones so that they're not forming the same runic patterns. Yes.
With that in mind, I'd like to try to rearrange them so that any spell that was cast within those arcana would backfire.
Okay, that's going to require another arcane lore test.
Mm-hmm.
Stands
Going to
over
need
here
a very high target number for this one.
Okay.
and observes the effect as it happens.
Okay. that's quite a high target number, but it isn't a very high target number. So
Mhm.
you've not managed to reconstruct them in such a way that it would disrupt those forms of magic, but what you have
Right.
managed to do is disrupt the runes so that it will no longer encourage that type of magic. It will no longer
Okay.
assist with it. So whereas beforehand, Shadow and Death Arcana spells cast here would cost 1 magic point less, now they won't.
Right. That just disadvantages anybody who sort of comes here and attempts to take it back.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, puts them on a level playing field.
Yeah.
Well, they had an advantage before.
Yeah.
They come in thinking they still have that advantage,
Yes,
and they don't.
that's right.
That
So-
not only will that have the mechanical effect, but it will unnerve them that it's not as good as they thought it was.
Yes.
So it's totally worth messing with any cairns outside of the other schools
Oh, yes.
before we go in.
Yeah, probably. Bearing in mind though that the
Standing
next big
stones.
skull,
Yeah.
the A skull, they were standing stones, as Patrick says, that had
Yeah.
the rune stones, that had the runes
Push them
on.
over.
Why exactly that one has more sturdy rune stones than the others, you don't know.
Because
Howard.
that's the master. That's where the boss lives.
Yeah, it's probably replaced the old cairns with some standing
Yeah.
stones. Just to make things fun.
You might think
Or
that.
maybe
I
it's an
couldn't possibly
ancient
comment.
calendar.
Well, we've got one skull that's completely overgrown with some fate cairns on it. Doesn't look particularly inhabited, but gives you the thought that you should be in charge of the place. There's the other skull in the bottom southeast, where my friend is possessed. Haven't checked what the runes are there because he fired an arcane blast at me. And then we've got one where the creature who's skin riding and full of green fire, like we've seen on every corrupted creature, he's got standing stones. That's the odd man out. That's the boss, I would think.
Right, okay, so plan at this point is
I don't know.
I have a concern that
Okay.
if we go and take him out,
Yeah.
then he immediately defaults to taking full possession of my friend.
Yeah. That would be the worry.
Yeah, my friend has been screaming
Or-
for help, so he's still got some sort of autonomy.
or
What if, hang on a second, because this is really important, what if the master requires a third party to destroy his old form so he can take full possession of the new one? What if we actually fulfill his plan in what we're doing?
yeah, I was gonna say that it could be something more along the lines of if you take him out as he
Yeah.
currently stands, either your friend becomes then the master in
Yeah.
succession, whether it's him himself or he's possessed by whatever evil spirit it is in full. Yeah, that's where I was going. It's doesn't really matter, right? Doing in the current master in Skull A, then reverts to the new master in Skull B, whether it's your friend or the master transferred. I'd be inclined along the same lines there.
We are here for rescue. We know where my friend is. We can go straight there.
In which case, I've got a theory about what might be on the other cairn,
Okay.
Go
the
on,
one
then.
that you didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
Psychic Arcana. Because
that
the
makes a lot of
master level
sense.
spell for that is Psychic Domination, where you can seize someone else's body and control their actions.
We want to get over there and rearrange that cairn as well, and then get in there and cleanse him.
Blame the rest, probably.
He was crying for help through the crystal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
If
chances
it's-
are that there's a corresponding crystal on the other end.
but if his body's that far gone,
I mean, that's
Right.
always a thing.
and if we take out the vessel, the next vessel, then when we actually confront the master, he's got nowhere to go.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, is that the idea? Right.
That's my idea.
So on the big map, going directly straight there.
Well,
To the
I'll
swamp.
just take you back to the big map. Boom, 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 boom. Where are you? There you are.
Is a bit fraught with danger
Mm-hmm.
because we're going to have to go across the river.
Yeah.
Right, let's draw a line. Right, so we're gonna come out of here. We're gonna go across the river.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
How are we gonna do this? So we're gonna go down and around the outside of said Crossbow Lake. Are we going to cut through the middle?
I think it's more direct to go through the middle.
And how are we going to get up to here?
Isn't the path to the north of that skull?
Right. So that means going around that way.
I'm
within scope of
Skull number A. Yeah, skull A.
right. I would be kind of inclined to
Would
go
it not make sense to go through the middle and then through the hang on, how do I draw? Yeah.
around
And
this way.
like through the middle, through the trees, can we use the trees as cover and then whirl round?
You mean skirt along the bank on that side, but you've got to remember that some sort of mosquito folk, giant mosquitoes are in this.
No, hold on.
For which we have a repellent.
Do you see my line?
Oh, your line's that one which runs.
Yeah,
that way
so
around.
I was like going through the middle and then like along here. Sorry, hang on. This
I looked away
way.
for 5 minutes and somebody spilled spaghetti all over my map.
That bold enough now.
Yeah,
Hello?
I'll
Yeah,
take off all of my bits.
Yeah. Oh, how do I take off my bits? I don't
You
know.
just have to highlight them. Go back to pointer,
I'm on pointer.
and then drag and draw a block over the top of it, like a highlighting window.
Okay. That did nothing.
Just to clarify, we've only been attacked by possessed animals. Is that correct?
No, you've
and
been
vines.
attacked by strangle vines as well. Hanging vines, sorry.
No, sorry. In terms of animals,
Yes.
we've only been attacked by ones that were influenced.
Oh, yeah.
So
Corrupted
natural,
animals, yes.
so natural predator intimidation wouldn't have any effect on that.
Ooh, that's an interesting question. Make a natural law test, which would be intelligence natural law, please.
Really must get that next level.
I was trying to decide between that and arcane law again. Yeah. Okay. Your strong suspicion is that natural animals would not be overly aggressive, that you're only going to be attacked by the ones that have been influenced in some way by the Valley Master, yes, or the Valley, or whatever the influencing form is.
Asking Melora, how far towards these other schools has she ever been?
Well, before this master came, I was all over this valley from time to time. Since this master has taken control of the place, then I have not ventured there in quite some time. I'm just going to make some secret rolls. Just give me a second.
He's not going to tell us whether they contain cheese or sausage.
Exactly, yes.
I'll just take a quick comfort break.
Okay. And I'm going to have to make these... ones off thingy altogether and roll some actual real physical dice. And this is not just an excuse because I recently bought a load of new six-sided dice. Honest.
Pretty
Right.
clacky math rocks.
Some clacky math rocks, yes. I bought a few dice. I've bought more dice in lockdown than I have like for years. But I
Yeah.
bought a few dice from the dice shop, and now they send me every 2 days. They send me some more temptations.
I know
Do you
this
want some more
feeling.
of these dice? Wait, what about these ones? Do you like these ones? Oh, look
Have
at
you
the
seen
numbers
the
on
ones with the ducks embedded in them?
that. Yeah. I've got ones with
He
cats on
opens
as
his
well.
jacket.
How I've managed not to buy them yet, I have no idea. Okay, so it
Opens his
is.
jacket. He's got like dice hanging. Yeah, I could do you some dice here. Nice dice.
That's interesting. That's
So you roll some
13.
dice once in a while, do you?
Yes.
Yeah, I've
So
read
that
the
was-
Dice Man. I know what's going on.
Yes. So that was 13, and I need to know.
Horrific book.
Bum, bum, bum. Shit.
Oh, triple one.
Oh, that's okay.
That was good roll.
That's okay. So I need some other rolls. Oh, funnily enough, you said that, and then my next roll was a triple one.
Oh, someone took Fate Arcana.
I
Yeah.
really should stop doing that. People will guess who I am.
Right. Okay.
I'm back.
Excellent. You haven't missed anything. Just me making a series of secret dice rolls.
Right, okay.
That have resolved a question that I had as Games Master that I now know the answer to. Okay, so last thing that happened, I believe, is you'd asked Melosa about how close she'd been to these skulls, and she told you she hasn't been close to them since the new master came.
Yep. So she wouldn't have had any kind of influence from them.
Okay. I have had no influence from the skulls, no. Right, because that's kind of an important question, because I think I know where you're going with it.
Yeah.
She's told you that she hasn't been influenced by the skulls. I'm going to suggest that you all make a perception empathy test to see if you think she's telling the truth about that or not.
I don't have empathy. Can I just make a regular perception?
You can, yep, you can. And whether or not I'm even rolling dice is something that you will only have to guess.
Well, I rolled a 10, which was even look at mine. I rolled a 1, a 2, a 3, and I had a perception of 4.
Right.
Triangle.
So what did everybody get? Okay. Yeah. As far as you can gather, she's never been affected by the skulls.
But is that because she's a plant, not a person?
Would we believe
could be.
her?
Well, that's what we were rolling for.
Well, we now have no reason to disbelieve her. Our characters believe her.
No, it was
No, your characters can't-
WOOD. Would we believe it?
can't, yeah.
Oh.
Your characters can't detect any deception.
How do we know
You-
she's not a plant of the master?
Quite. I mean, you might think, you might still have doubts and just think she's very good at concealing them. That's entirely up to you to decide for yourselves. But your
I think we
characters
should
have...
leave it alone, Sean.
Oh, God.
Oh
For the listeners at home, I've been putting up with this kind of punning now for, 14 months, I think?
Yes.
no. Something like that.
How long have you known me, Brian?
Yes, considerably longer, and Louise longer still. So actually, I've been putting up with this kind of terrible punning for about 10, 12 years.
Yes, we've punished you for all that time.
Yes,
But
you've punished me, yes. Oh, God. Okay, so yes, it's entirely up to you as players to decide whether your characters believe her or not. What the dice roll did there was tell you that the characters have not been able to pick up any sense of deception. So your characters would be left with the option of thinking she's telling the truth or thinking she's just a much better liar than you can hunt through. So it's up to you which of those two decisions.
When we
you
asked her the question, did she look to the left or to the right? Before she answered?
straight ahead. She has a tendency to look at everything straight ahead and not blink is the other thing. This is
Okay.
probably because she's actually an elemental spirit rather than a. I
Hmm.
know the plants see her as a plant, but actually she's not a plant either. She's a elemental spirit.
Nature elemental.
Oh.
Okay, right. So the plan we're going with is we're going to go across the Skull B in some fashion. How are we going to get there?
Just getting the group away from her and speaking privately.
Okay.
She wants to get.
Just give me a second. In fact, I'll just talk you through. Open your character sheet. Go
Yep.
to focuses.
Yeah.
Find dexterity, stealth, and overtype the 2.
Okie doke.
Now roll again. I'll keep the original roll, but roll again, and that should have fixed it.
Yeah, that makes it.
Yeah, my
Please
mouse
keep the
clicked
original roll. It was
twice.
better.
My mouse clicked twice there. I didn't mean to.
Right.
15, 14.
Just an apology there for the people at home. We briefly disconnected, but that's reconnected us now. Do you know that's weird? That's almost exactly the same time it did it last week, I think, as well.
Yeah, that could be something like that. Apparently, there was supposed to be a solar flare hitting the Earth today. Could
That was it,
disrupt.
really. Solar flare. I haven't seen the sun in 2 days. I live in gloomy Stanley, where there is a constant.
Oh yeah, I forget you're down in the valley compared to me, aren't you? I'm up on the hill.
Are you higher up than us, eh?
Oh yeah,
All right, okay.
Craghead.
Yeah, well, it depends which part of Crackhead, because you go down from here and then back up. So, yeah, I think
Yeah,
you are
but
up from
I'm
us.
at the peak at the top.
Right. Oh, it's done it again. Okay, so never mind. It is what it is. OBS is rapidly disconnecting and reconnecting. I don't really know why. So apologies to those people who are trying to listen in, but we'll just have to let OBS do its thing. Okay, so yes, Patrick, you were going to ask me about, because it is dexterity based and you are speaking. Did you have an idea for a better?
Well,
Option.
it seemed more like a communication thing to me, but
Does a bit, doesn't it? Go on then, make a communication. I don't know, whispering.
Deception.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, deception.
I'm,
Why
I'm,
not?
I'm perfectly happy to go with whatever stat you say.
Nah, communication does sound better. I've just picked up the wrong set of
Because your intent is to hide your.
what you're saying. Yeah, go on then, make a deception, and let's
Could
just see
I
if she
use
heard.
performance or
Yes.
disguise?
Yes, you can use performance. So I'm gonna check out Melosa again, and Melosa
Important point, by
failed.
the way. My dex is 2, but my communication's only 1. So
Okay.
I was in fact recommending a stat that I had a lower rating in.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Even if it had been higher, I still think you've probably got a point. Okay, so I'm just going to make a roll for her perception hearing, see if she hears you. And she scored
Oh shit!
19,
19.
with 5 points of stun. So she's heard everything you've said.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Okay, so she will come in on that one then, since she said it. I have never been the master of the valley.
Oh goodness! You can hear us?
Of course, these work, she says,
But
pointing at her elongated, almost elf-like ears.
Oh,
has she ever been the mistress of the valley, though?
I have not, no. There have been many masters in the time that I have been here, some better than others. It is time, I think, that the valley had a new master, a less malign master.
Right. Okay. So, what does she know about the southernmost skull
Ah,
and its influence upon people?
the southernmost skull, the skull of fortune. The skull that the Games Master is going to be looking up in a second. Just give me a chance to open it.
hang on. Previously, you didn't have any names for the skulls, other than the skull of seeing and the skull of fear.
Well remembered.
But the thing is, maybe that was an articulation problem between us and.
Yeah.
Is that a GM issue? Before we go any further.
No, it isn't. Perhaps I misunderstood your question at the time. Make another communications empathy roll. And let me just find Melosa, because I seem to have accidentally closed her again.
Hang on. Is
Perception.
I was going to say, is
Sorry,
empathy under
perception empathy. Perception empathy.
Why is it double clicking?
Okay. What's the highest number anyone got?
18.
18. Okay. Sounds right.
Okay.
Or she's an extremely accomplished liar. Well, it sounds right. Or she's an
But
extremely
But
accomplished
the
liar.
thing is, maybe perhaps there's the influence in the valley, and we've liberated another 25% of what was remaining, or 20% of what was remaining. It may have fogged her mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we've taken part,
then.
because she could be tied to the land, and she was afraid previously, if you remember, to cross the river.
She was, and she seems less fearful now, which might, of course, be because you've got control of the Skull of Fear now.
Could be.
Speaking to Melosa, then, there is the Skull of Seeing, the Skull of Fear, the Skull of Fortune. What are the other two called?
Skull of Seeing, the Skull of Fear, the Skull of Fortune. Okay, Louise might understand why I'm going to say this next bit, but the name of the skull I'm about to give you always puts me in mind of a song by Midnight Configuration. And if she doesn't get it, it's because of the, like, Kev certainly will. So
Who's out of the room right now?
all right, okay, it's the Reaping Skull. The next skull up the valley is the Reaping Skull.
Ooh.
Okay.
And the Shaping Skull, which I am aware for the listeners at home that on the map, due to the font, that does look like the Shopping Skull, but I guarantee you it isn't Walmart.
Okay.
Oh
You can't.
no! It's the MLM skull. It's gonna try and sell us Avon.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
well,
You can't get in without a mask.
in the shopping school, they specialise in selling blunt weapons because it's a mall.
Oh, oh God.
Well, he certainly hammered that one, didn't he?
Oh, dear God.
Join the club.
Oh. Dear me. Right, okay. So, before this pun fest gets any worse, so yes, she's told you that the next skull up the valley is a Reaping Skull, that the one on the heights is the Shaping Skull, and obviously you have the Skull
Fortune
of
skull.
Fortune as well.
Can we have those written on?
Can you have those written on? Yes, I can.
Or labels revealed?
I can reveal the labels. Just give me a second. I think they're on the Games Master's lair, so I will. Excuse me. I will.
That's where the Games Master keeps his treasure in his lair.
Actually, if I just use the drop in on that one, you should now see the name of the skull you're standing in should have appeared.
That's
That
been
was
there.
already there.
That has been there for ages,
Okay.
since last week.
Right. Okay. I appear to be on the. I'm getting error messages when I try to do this.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Like we know them now, so like
Bonehead 1, Bonehead 2, Bonehead 3.
Skull of Avon.
Oh, there we go. There's the Reaping Skull. So we need to get some needlepoint done to combat that one.
I'm having to
Yeah,
do
some
this
sewing.
manually because the little button I set up for it doesn't seem to be working, which is strange because I've used it for various other things in the past. So there, token there. That should be all but one of them now.
I think we've got all of them unless
We
there's
can
one
see
that
all.
I'm missing.
Yeah, we can
Right.
see all of them.
Right.
Is there any significance to the fact that 3 of them are the skull of something, and the other 2 are something skulls?
Not that you can see.
There's that
Well,
the
the-
Skull of Reaping and the Skull of Shaping, effectively. It's just the way it's written.
Is it though? Because those 2 skulls that are written that way are the 2 sentry skulls either side of the river,
Hmm.
as I pointed out before. So there's another connection between the 2 of them. Reaping and shaping. Okay, culturally,
Yeah.
what are the connections between reaping and shaping that you would take skins, you would take animals, pieces of things from the natural world, transport them somewhere else to make them into something? Is there any kind of logical, cultural connection between the 2?
Not that I can think of, no.
Right.
And therefore, not that you can think of.
Yep. 4 out of 5 of these skulls have had cans around them.
Yes.
We didn't see any, or we didn't find any at the Skull of Seeing.
Didn't look.
We didn't look. We didn't know to look.
There's a
Sean's
couple
just
of piles
pinned
of
them, yeah.
rocks.
Asking Melosa, are there any cairns around your home skull, around the Skull of Seeing?
What is a cairn?
Piles of rocks with runes on.
These things here, pointing to the one that's directly outside.
Okay, she stoops over to have a look at it. Yes.
There are some of those at the Skull of Seeing.
Yes.
Okay,
They like divination arcana, maybe.
that makes a lot of sense.
Just at a guess.
It would make a lot of sense, yeah. Could it?
Is
Don't
it
really
worth-
want to go back and find out, because
I was
again,
going
that
to say,
will help them back.
is it worth going back?
Probably not.
Okay.
Hang
So,
on. So,
yeah, go ahead.
Divination, Fate, Shadow. We've had all three of those, yeah.
Well, you don't know for certain that you've had divination. I don't think, do you? Let me just check.
Sorry. We've definitely had Shadow. We definitely had Fate.
Yes, you've definitely had Shadow, Fate, and Death. Death's appeared twice. Once at the Reaping Skull and once at the Skull of Fear.
I suspect Shaping is psychic, but yeah, I might be wrong on that.
Just a quick question.
Uh-huh.
There didn't used to be a skull, more skulls in the valley, did there?
Is this you asking Melosa? Yeah. Let me just check and see if she knows.
Yeah, because actually there is a little pile of stones there next to there as well.
There
Yeah,
is
that
indeed.
that looks suspiciously like somewhere where you would put a skull.
It does a little bit, so let me just check Melosa and see if she knows. Typically, I just closed her a moment ago thinking, I'm not going to need her now. They've finished cross-examining Melosa. So it would be an intelligence arcane law test. And she scored 15. Okay. So she thinks about it for a moment. Still, you're not sure she's even heard you because, like, she doesn't blink, she doesn't move her eyes, she doesn't sit there with her chin resting on her fist or anything. She just kind of stares forward as if her eyes are boring through you while she thinks about it and says, I do not know for certain, but there have been no other skulls in my time.
Okay.
And because you've already started to be suspicious of her, feel free to make another set of perception.
Did we not have this discussion though that she doesn't know how time passes?
She doesn't know how
That's
time
a good
passes.
point.
No.
I'm pretty certain, that we asked her about additional skulls before.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah, you
might have
did.
done.
You did.
Oh well, okay, never mind.
And you have had the same answer this time.
The thing is, Sean, I think it was important to ask the question again.
Okay, so
Because
if you're still wondering whether or not she's been deceitful or not, you can make another perception and empathy test.
I'm not going to beat that 18 I had previously, am I?
Probably not. Okay. Yep, sounds right.
Okay.
Well, we could always put lit matchsticks between her toes and.
I think it would be a very bad idea to antagonise the fair.
Yeah.
Traditionally speaking, it doesn't usually go well, does it?
No.
Indeed.
We
But
don't want them to burn our barn down.
Yeah.
are not all of us, apart from Tamara Greyhawk, kind of, sort of, Fey related?
Yes,
Yeah.
you are. An elf,
So
a
we're-
half-elf, and a beast folk walk
Yeah.
into a bar.
Walk into a bar.
Two gnomes walk under a bar.
Bartender says, "Oi, get on your back on your other side."
Okay, so what would you all like to do, or ask, or say, or think about, or procrastinate over it now?
We need to work out how to get over to this shape and skull. I think.
Okay.
Let's ford the river, skirt round the
You want to go
the
along the
swamp.
riverbank
Yes.
through the trees instead of through the middle of the Oxbow Lakes?
I think going through the middle of the lakes, which is where Molosa used to live.
So I'm going to take a quick comfort break while you guys discuss it. I'm going to leave your
So, this
channel
path.
open to the listeners so they can hear what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be
Then
back very shortly. I'll try not to
that
walk
way,
into the bedpost on
down
the
the
way back in
routine.
the room this time.
The fact that she moved suggests to me that it's not a good idea going through there.
That is a good point.
I think we can take a fairly open path down the riverbank. I mean, I've kind of cut into the trees there, but not deliberately. We just follow the
So
river.
do you want to go along the riverbank?
Yes,
But it's within.
it is. We've been attacked, twice, 3 times before, by things that are possessed and corrupted, regardless of them having been within the eye line of the reaping skull. If we're going to get attacked, we're going to get attacked.
No, but it's more exposed though, is my thinking.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there is the alternative of taking the long way round,
Mm-hmm.
and we could climb up the way, but we want to approach this where we're not in the eye vision of that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a great sort of corner vision there for firing out arcane blasts.
Well, limited because of the spell range, but that doesn't stop something else happening.
Depends on his level.
It's still limited.
Mm.
Doesn't outrange a bow. But yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you on that aspect of it. It's we need to be across there somewhere, somehow. And I don't know if going down the riverbank is the right way to go.
Right.
Because you're in the double sort of crossover vision patch of the thing. You're close to the swamp. You could be attacked from both sides at once. And I don't know if skirting round or through the middle is the best way to go. I really
Louise?
I don't know.
It's one of
I
those.
think-
We're going to cross the river anyway, so the
Yeah.
first part of our journey is going to be this.
Part of me wants to keep fairly near to some water, just in case I can draw extra power from that.
Right. Well, there's the Oxbow Lakes.
Yeah, but then also I can see the issue with the insects,
Yes.
but we do have insect repellent. Ooh.
But if the insects become corrupted, I don't think that's going to work.
Well, the question to ask Melosa then is: are the insects corrupted by the master, or
Yes.
are their
Okay.
brains so alien
That's a good question.
Yeah,
that he can't control insects? He can only control woodland animals, and his power's actually druid based, effectively, for animals only.
When
Nothing
you
of-
asked about are their brains so alien there, I thought you'd gotten onto the subject of Games Masters for a moment. Okay, so where are we at?
Right. So the question that we have for Melosa is the insectoid giant mosquito type things that live in the swamp in the middle of the woods with the Oxbow Lakes. Are they under the control of the master?
I do not believe they are, no.
right. So, I
And this-
think we should go that way then.
And they're hostile to other life forms, I take it, then in that case.
Yes, they are.
They're of animal intelligence, they're not of a tribal nature.
That is correct.
There's no way to communicate with them as animals, effectively.
Well, not that she knows. Well, yeah. Let's just say Courage might know a way.
Yeah, I was going to say, Courage might be able to speak to them.
Well, nothing in any of the beast spells that I've got, and I'm now a master of beast arcana.
Yeah.
mentions insects specifically.
No, but
Insects are still animals, though, aren't they?
yes, they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So yes, any spell you have that affects animals or beasts would affect the insects as well.
Well, as a player, I didn't know if there was going to be a distinction.
No, there's not.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the nature of the giant insects is.
Has she ever seen the insect be possessed
She
Yes,
said
she
no
is.
to that.
She
or
said no
corrupted?
to that.
Right, she hasn't. Okay. There's
Well,
always
she
a
tells
first
you she
time.
hasn't.
Oh God. Right.
I'm definitely veering towards going through the swamp and then hiding in the trees and going up that way, the way I drew on before. Then,
You mean down through the middle and across?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
How climbable is this sort of? I mean, there's a big chunk of trees over here. Are these trees also possessed in the same way and corrupted by the power of the valley?
You don't know the answer to that.
Have we seen any of the vines by the river?
No, you haven't.
Because there isn't just the mosquitoes to concern ourselves with. There
Yeah.
is also the
True.
the strangle vines.
That's correct. Yeah.
Does Melissa,
What benefit does the swamp root have?
you're not in vision of the reaping skull?
You're not in vision of the reaping skull. It's a little bit more open, so if anything did attack you, there's less cover. The forests elsewhere are much more dense, and things could be on you in a flash. Whereas through the centre of the Oxbow Lakes, there's less cover. That's not to say there's none, but there is less.
Yeah, things could be on you in a splash, but
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
so going round the thing and then up the bank and through
What
the
do we
tree.
think? What do we think the threat of being within the sight of the reaping skull might be?
Continuous attacks by animals.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind that the skull of fear had a radius effect, not a line of sight effect.
It's,
But it's not the effect of the skull. It's the creatures are able to run anywhere
yeah.
Yes.
and being seen.
Yeah.
So it's a more visible route than going through the trees or swamps.
I would say so. So there is cover on the other routes, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
But there's also potential dangers such as A, the insects, and B, the things like stranglevines, etc. And also we can also be ambushed by the master's cronies and himself in his possession form, right? If we go along the riverbank, we're in direct sight. As soon as we get past the rocks at this point, yeah, we're no longer in cover. Or if we were to cross the river here, having come along the northern bank, under cover of the thing, we're then exposed once we're on the southern bank of the river at any point, sort of from, I don't know, where it says Skull of Fortune, that particular line going up, whatever it is, from there over this way, we're exposed in the vision potentially from the reaping skull.
I've only got one more thing to throw into the hat, which would be if we take the riverbank path. Yes, we're in line of sight of the reaping skull and could be under constant attack by corrupted animals, which we have fought before, and we know what we're in for.
Right.
If
Quick
we
question.
go through the swamp, we're fighting mosquitoes that we haven't fought before, and an unknown number of vines. There are more unknowns through the swamp than there are by the river.
So what this bank here? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there enough dead ground on it, effectively, so that you could actually be up against that embankment, right, and below the line of sight, out of line of sight from the actual skull?
No.
Because it's up a height and it's looking down, and if you were like hugging that wall,
Yeah, you very much doubt that
You
that
couldn't sneak past there behind the trees.
You, you might be able to, but there's a lot of gaps in those trees, so you'd think probably not. You could try it. I would certainly allow stealth rolls for you to try it, but you wouldn't be getting any bonuses for them.
Okay. And then cross the river at this point.
So, turning into Bradley Walsh again, I'm going to have to push you for an answer.
Oh, you're wanting to go along the north bank?
Yeah, that was an idea and sneak under the radar.
Yeah.
But no, it's not feasible.
Okay.
Good to Brian.
Okay.
It's, I wouldn't say not feasible, but it's not. You might have a little bit more cover than if you were on the south bank, which is entirely open, and therefore you would be suffering penalties to your throws. But it's still not sort of in huge amounts of cover due to the numerous and quite sizable gaps in the trees.
So you're using your invisibility arcana. You cast invisibility on the party.
I mean, yes, the mosquitos are a different enemy than what we've seen before, and we have seen the possessed, corrupted creatures before. But like every time we've fought them has been pretty difficult.
Yeah,
true.
The first time was damn near a total wipeout for the party. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think like we've got insect repellent, but also we have someone who could potentially talk to the insects as well. I feel like if we go through the swamps, we have for all I don't know for sure, but I feel like we have a better chance personally.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if we've got me saying the river, you're saying the swamp. Sean, what's your call?
Tactically, to me, the riverbank's too exposed.
Right. Then let's go through the swamp.
Okie dokie. So, if you'd like to move yourselves in the direction that you're heading, please, 2 squares at a time. I'll tell you if you need to stop. Okay, so you reach the river.
That was the easy decision.
That was the easy decision. Yeah. You reach the river and look around for a while. You're aware of that dangerous undercurrent, that dangerous undertow. So you're going to have a look for a fording point, or you're going to have to swim it in the knowledge that undercurrent's there. So it at least won't take you by surprise, so the penalty would be lower. So let's start with a test to see if you can find a fording point. There is one somewhere if you can find it. So give me a perception searching test.
Do a perception test.
I've got seeing. Can I use that?
No, you're specifically searching for a thing rather than sort of pass. No, go on. I will let you actually.
Oh, well,
I'll talk
+2 to
myself
that,
out of that. Yeah.
+2 to mine as well.
Okay.
+2 to mine as well.
Okay.
we're all. I think everybody's taken seeing.
Yeah.
All but eating carrots.
Okay, so
Haha.
there is one about here. I'll just move it. There you go. You see
Tamara
where?
made a 17 though.
Oh right, she definitely knows. She noticed it from the skull earlier, because it's kind of under the things. That where the river is at its broadest, it's also at its shallowest.
I've just had this vision, right? So we've been stood around arguing on how to get across this other skull, right? Well, Tamara's been stood to one side going, "Oh, not again," and then immediately gone 14 points there.
Yeah, you've all been arguing about it. How do we get across the river? And she's like pointing at the section she's standing next to.
She's going, well, duh.
You see this bit here?
Amateurs.
You're looking right at it.
It's actually standing in the river. It's only up to her ankles. Jumping up and down, splashing about, waving her hands. It's over here. Okay, it's not quite that bad. It is a bit deeper than that, actually. However, none of you are particularly short, so It's under the waist. The fording point is under your waist in most cases. There is a slight chance you'll slip and fall and be rushed downstream. It's not a very high chance. So I'm going to ask you all for a dexterity athletics check. You've got to beat 7 to avoid falling in the water. Falling in the water.
I was waiting for that.
I thought you might be. We now have a lot of listeners at home who are either not from the UK and don't know British television, or are too young to remember it and are thinking, what's he going on about? Okay, so you all wade across the river with...
I haven't rolled.
There we go.
Really? Because I've got 3
Some
rolls here.
people
Oh,
are
yeah,
slow.
sure, 4, that's right, okay.
I wasn't slow. I accidentally closed my character sheet.
Right,
So-
okay.
so-
And
so-
that's
some
you have.
people are sitting here thinking of the Goon Show.
Yes. Okay, so you've now all managed to wade across the river at its shallowest point. You come out on the far side, shaking the water off a little bit. You're damp, but it's a cool day, so that'll probably chill you just a little bit. But you'll be all right.
Nicholas Marty was probably thinking, "Ooh, water! I like water."
Yeah.
That's
So, you're now
Cosmos
heading
rolls
into the damper region between the Oxbow Lakes. Let me just take a look. Okay, so
So we're going to follow
we got a big
roughly
road.
this route through the middle. Everybody happy with that?
Okay.
We should have enough repellent to start burning some now to act as a preventative, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I think you should.
I think we had
Okay.
3 bunches each or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so you start making your way through the swampy area. The first part's actually the easiest. Oddly enough, or at least it seems odd initially, the ground closest to the river is actually the driest, the most firm. As you push a little bit further inland, it gets softer and softer. The ground becomes damper and you start sinking more deeply into it. This is, of course, because you're now entering a sort of bog area between those lakes. The temperature rises a little bit. There's sort of haze and mist coming off the bog itself as it hits the colder air above it. You can
Cover.
feel that the mud's quite warm and it's kind of sucking. There's this constant sort of faint buzzing in the background from these giant insects that you know are out there somewhere, or at least you have heard are out there somewhere. I just need to pop into the last map where you were all together. Where was it?
Stuffing through the swamp.
Goal of
On the one horse open
fear, I
space.
think.
Skull of Fear, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. So I'm just going to move you all together, and I'm missing 2 of you, oddly enough.
We went outside.
You went outside, right? Okay, I've seen 1 of you.
Kurge was over by the stones, and then I was
Kurge of-
further south to the southeast.
Ah, right, okay. I've seen you now. I have you now. Darth Vader voice. Copy. I wish Darth Vader voice. I would love to have a voice like James Earl Jones. Let me see.
But you wouldn't like to
you?
suffer his fate in Conan the Barbarian.
No, probably not. On balance, I'll kind of go without that.
I always thought it sounded like a wet cardboard box slopping down the stairs. But,
It probably was, knowing how Foley artists do their thing. It's distinctly possible. Okay, so I'm just going to plonk you in the middle of the... There you go. You should all be able to see, I hope. No, you won't be able to.
I still see map.
I'm still on the map.
Yeah, you will be. Aye. That's a thing I should probably do first before I ask a stupid question like that. Now can you all see?
Oh, blimey, lots of swamp. Yes.
Lots of swamp,
We're all-
yes.
we're all-
So
Oh.
if you can turn
Facing
Oh,
yourselves the
lots
right
of bones
direction.
in the swamp. Oh no.
Yeah, there are, yes. So
Lots
there
of
are
mosquitoes.
yes, those are actually dragonflies, but they are mosquitoes. I couldn't find any mosquito tokens. I found that my artistic ability to draw my mosquitoes looks like a 3-year-old. So I decided to go with dragonflies. These are just mosquitoes. They are mosquitoes in game terms. It's just they've been to some kind of
Yes.
um, some kind of fancy dress party and they're just on the way back.
And the thing is, you told us to expect mosquitoes. I then see winged insects.
I
They're
just saw
clearly
mosquitoes. I should have
mosquitoes.
kept my gob shut, really, then, shouldn't
Hold up,
Yeah.
hold up. They're
Yeah.
giant, aren't they?
I? Yes, they are.
No. What?
Do you reckon we could talk them into flying us around?
Possibly.
It's possible. Yeah, it's absolutely possible. Okay, so you enter.
Oh, down the bottom there.
Yeah, down the bottom. The ground here, you can see some patches are more solid than the others. You can see large sections of slightly moving, if you look closely, it's animated, water here and there. And you've got boggy patches, so some places you stand, you sink a bit more. Some places you stand, it's firmer than others. All around, you can see these small bog plants. They're not trees exactly. They're a bit too low for that. They're more sort of tall bushes, you would say.
As long as they've got no pigs in them.
They don't appear to have, but there's an alarming number of bones scattered about the place as well.
Bones of what?
From where you are, you can see human and animal bones. There's a
Okay.
What
combination
kind of
them
creature
all.
is that?
You don't know, you're a long way off that. So it's difficult to tell
Some sort
from
of
where
freaky
you are.
It looks like a lobster or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say like maybe a scorpion.
Yeah, it could be something like that. Stingray, I don't know. Dragon. Not that
Actually,
stingray.
Thinking about it, I mean, while it's the same shape, I think both lobsters and scorpions have like exoskeletons rather than.
Yeah, good point.
I believe they do.
Endoskeletons.
Okay, so I'm just going to open this, and I just need to double check and see if there are.
Whatever it was, it looks like it had horns.
It does a bit, doesn't it? Okay, so as you're approaching the, as you're slogging your way through the mud, it's very, very hard going here. So movement is halved. That's going to be important any moment now. In fact, as these mosquitoes spot you, they start heading straight towards you. Obviously, they're not going to be reduced in their speed. So they start buzzing towards you. You can see them coming. You're holding out your sticks full of burning mosquito repellent in the hopes it'll keep them at bay. We shall soon find out, because I'm about to ask you all. Da, 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 da. So just give me a second to clear it. Remove all. Clear. Yep, go ahead and roll your initiative for me, please.
It's done it again. This mouse is on its way out.
I've just had to buy a bunch more.
Right. My initiative should actually be 19.
Okay, I'll correct yours in a second,
So
and I'll
it's
just
double
roll
clicking.
all of mine.
Who's doing tomorrow's?
Two
You-
ticks.
you-
I've got that sheet open.
I was going to
just
say it's
rolled that.
Louisa's turn to take Tamara, I think. That
Yeah.
reminds me, I think I'm supposed to get in touch with Mel to see how she's doing and if she can join us again soon. Time has flown since last week. Okay, that should be all of my guys. So Alderon should be 19.
It's this mouse is my left click is double clicking things
Right.
without me doing it. It's like I
Yeah.
click once and it goes do like that.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Good job I'm not buying and selling shares.
Yes. I lost a mouse for the same reason recently, and then my favourite one, which was my purple wireless mouse, I knocked it off my desk, which isn't that high, and it just broke the springs and sensors inside, and it just wouldn't respond anymore. So I gave up and ordered a bunch of. They come in like 3 different colours. I like them all, so I ordered one of each. Okay, so as these creatures are approaching you, you're starting to feel a little bit nervous about these, because they are big. They are big. They're quite sizable. And mosquitoes drink blood, and the last thing you want is something that's bigger than you trying to drink your blood. So you are getting a little bit nervous, and it's Alderan to go. What would he like to do about scary giant mosquitoes?
Well, I'm going to hold my action whilst waving around my burning bushel or whatever it is of insect repellent.
Right, excellent. You're going to do that then. So it is mosquito number 1, please. And I'll just check, because obviously it doesn't have its movement halved. It's flying for a start. 12, and it's this one here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That one's coming hurtling in towards you. It doesn't look terribly repelled by that stuff just yet, but it might be that it's out of range. It's still a good distance away from you. Courage, what would you like to do?
Let's fight at range while we can. Arcane Blast.
Arcane Blast?
What? You're not even going to try and talk to them?
You want me to try?
I thought
surely
that
worth
was-
a try.
It's
All right.
entirely
thought
up to
that
you.
that was the idea. But if you want to go ahead and shoot, don't let me stop you.
If that's what our characters had discussed on the way in and agreed on, yes, I will try to speak to them.
Yeah, I think you were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to attempt a beast speech. You bring the power of your druidic nature into you, and with a few quick words and you send out your mind, you find you can figure out how these creatures communicate. And you can make that connection. What would you like to say to it?
We mean you no harm. We do have herbs here that will repel you. We don't want you to have to smell those and be appalled by them and have to retreat. Please keep your distance. We're just going to walk through here, mind our own business, and we mean you no harm at all.
We mean you harm. Your herbs will do nothing. The master wants you dead.
Oh, damn it.
Ah, right. Okay.
Okay, so that's the next mosquito. That comes as a bit of a surprise because you were A, fairly sure that these herbs were going to work, and B, fairly sure that the master couldn't control the mosquitoes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. However, they seem to be heading straight for you, and you're not so convinced all of a sudden. Especially as one of them's literally just told you that they're attacking you because the master wants you dead. Nicholas, what would you like to do?
I'm just checking the word, not a spell, to see if it used what other spells, but I use this spell first. Oh no, I don't think that affects anything else because it's an illusion rather than an actual shape change. Could I use illusionary guise and try and turn myself into a giant mosquito?
Yes.
Yeah.
I see no reason not to. Okay, summoning the magical energies of your particular talent, you grasp it's your hurdy-gurdy, isn't it?
Yes.
And strike a single note, and your visage begins to shimmer and shake, and you appear to transform yourself into a giant mosquito.
Yes,
I'm
that's
just
a minor.
Sorry?
That's a minor action.
Oh, crikey, is it? That's quite a good
Yes.
one. How long's it for, the entire encounter?
An hour, unless I
An
drop,
hour.
obviously.
All right, okay. That's quite a good one. I'm just going to put a marker on so that we know that
Okay.
you're spell affected. Just so that we know that you are disguised as a mosquito without me having to actually turn you into a mosquito. Not quite sure which one. Oh, that's the one. There we go.
Next.
Okay, so having done that, having turned yourself into a giant mosquito, or appeared to have done, what else would you like to do since that's only a minor action?
I would like to flop
Right,
off
sorry.
to the side over here a little bit.
Yep.
I'm not abandoning anyone. Just for the record, I have a plan.
I thought you would say
I just-
just yet.
Does it involve violence?
Eventually.
Because I have the option of doing violence at this point.
Okay, well,
You-
go for it.
Yeah.
Just don't shoot me, please.
However,
Mhm.
given the position of said insects,
Yeah.
I'm still holding.
Yeah.
And I'll probably go last in this turn and first in next.
Yes. Okay. It's not a problem. So, Nicholas, would you like to finish your?
I'm gonna move up to here. There we go.
Right. Okay, so you start flanking the giant insects, and you currently appear as a giant insect. I don't think they have any reason to think you're not either, do they? So,
Can't imagine. So, I think they get to do a perception test. Let me just check
I
that.
think they need to have a. Actually, they've just seen you change into one. That might be reason enough.
Yeah.
Uh, So it's perception, seeing,
Let me check.
presumably.
Let me check. Illusionary guys. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, perception seeing
Against your spell power.
against my spell power, which is 10.
Is that all it is? 10. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Well, the first one's recognised you as a fake.
This works so much better in my head.
Oddly enough, I'm not seeing one of these light up. Ah, there it is. 12. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12. That one seems to be coming straight for you, although much more slowly than you feared. Not renowned as high-speed creatures. Mosquitos. Okay, let's have a look at the next one, see if it can tell that you're a fake. Their perception's pretty good, it has to be said. That one's recognised you as a fake as well, so it can select you as a target. Doesn't mean it will. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So they seem to be coming at you in a sort of spreading out formation. They're coming in at you roughly in a line. Tamara Greyhawk and Louise, it's you controlling her for this action.
Let me check speed and stuff. Oh, not. She is gonna move over here.
Yep.
Can't actually hit anything just yet. So she can like stand firm, yeah?
Okay, she can stand firm. She does have a bow if she wants to shoot something.
Oh yeah, damn! I forgot she had a bow.
You can change
Sorry, I'm
your
not used to this
action.
character sheet.
That's okay. You can change your actions completely if you want to. You can decide she stands and shoots.
I might actually. Where
Or
was
you
she?
can
She
move in.
was just behind here, wasn't
Yeah,
she?
she's back here. Yeah.
Right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna shoot at this dude.
Okay, taking cover behind that fallen log, she draws her bow, quickly strings it, knocks an arrow, and fires at the first one. Twang! Her burning incense stuff is now lying on the log next to her. And I think that's a narrow miss. Let me just have a look. That is a miss. It's 13 or better to hit.
Damn. Okay.
Okay, so
Right, so I'm going to go.
okay, Alderin, you to go. Twice, in point of fact, because this is you to go from round 1.
Right, so dropping the stuff, loading my bow, and firing.
Okay. You drop the stuff and quickly load the bow in one smooth, fluid movement. You pull the bowstring back and fire. Thwang.
Right. What's the dex on these things? Is it lower than 5?
I don't think it is, actually. Oh, it is 3. Yep. So yes, you'll still get the extra dice of damage when you hit.
Boom!
So your first shot slams into the one that Tamara's just narrowly missed. It kind of banked to avoid her shot and run slam into yours. You have hit it for 13 damage. That's 11 goes through. Oh dear. It's in a bad way already. That first shot and it's already in a bad way.
And then that's the end of the turn.
It is. That's the end of combat round 1. Combat round 2 and it's Alderin to go first.
So, different target.
Yep.
Next closest one,
Right you are.
as it were.
That'll be this one, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
An arrow magically pops into existence.
Uh,
Free reloads.
all right. Okay. Yes. So it doesn't magically
Oh,
pop into
sorry.
thing. But you're just
Sorry.
very quick at reloading. Yeah.
Roll a hit, 15.
Roll to
You're
hit
like
50.
Crow now from Hawk the
Is it-
Slayer.
Yes, is a hit.
Because I can just aim automatically.
Yeah.
For
Sorry, roll of damage.
16 points of damage.
16
It's
points of
double
damage?
click.
Right,
16,
so
yeah.
that's 14 gets through. And that one's in an extremely bad way. As your arrow hits it in one of the eyes, and there's sort of clear, yellowy insect blood spurting from the fairly severe wound that you've inflicted to its eye orbit.
Their best option was to surrender.
Pretty much.
Never mind.
We did
Okay.
offer.
Wounded mosquito is going to try and take out what it sees as the biggest threat, which is the bastard that shot him. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and he's in your space. He comes charging in and with his big proboscis attempts to stab you in the face. Let's see. 14. Is that a hit? That's a miss.
That's a miss.
Courage, you to go. Bear in mind you've still got the effects of your speech on, so you can talk with them anytime you want without having to worry about casting another spell to do it. You can also do anything else you want. You don't have to concentrate on the spell.
Bear in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bear in mind.
I will attempt, as a minor action, to convince them to back off, to try to reject the influence of the master.
Okay. Make a persuasion roll. So that's communication persuasion.
And say, my friend here with the pointy stick thing will kill you all.
You will die otherwise. Try to resist the master. So communication persuasion, yeah.
Communication persuasion. Unfortunately, that's quite a low roll, so they're not listening to you this round. Their bloodlust is up. That was a
Okay,
minor action, though, so you've still
was.
got a major action.
Arcane blast.
Arcane Blast? Yep.
That nearest one, is it?
Mm-hmm. Try and take one down first.
Oh, in the face.
16, and with 6 points of stun, so you've hit it at almost point blank range. Whilst it's trying to stab Talaran with its face point, it's kind of swapped in. He's ducked, he's swatted it away. It's gone sideways to bank around, and you've gone vroom, with your magical blast, hit it full in the body. 6 points of stunts and whatever damage you do.
Do I do the damage first, or do I declare stunts first?
You can declare the stunts first if you like, because you might choose to do extra damage.
Right. Am I likely to kill it in one go with this, or will I need like lethal blow or something?
It's in a bad way, but you suspect you'd probably need a lethal blow to finish it off.
Okay, then standard damage.
Yeah. 8. Okay, so that's 6 gets through. It's in a very bad way.
Mm-hmm. And I'll take lethal blow. That's an extra 2d6, yeah?
That would be, yes, 2d6 for a lethal blow. Yeah, you've blown it apart. It's exploded. You hit it with the magical blast, and there's just wings and bits of insect blood everywhere. Just sploot.
Yellow custard.
Yeah, yellow custard, exactly. Gone.
Lemon curd.
Okay. Yeah, well done. Mosquito number 2, please, is going to go next. It's on this flank, so it's coming in towards Courage and Alderan. And it can attack either of you, so I think it's probably going to go for the person that's just turned his friend into custard. So it's going to attack Courage, or it's going to attempt to attack Courage, is probably a more accurate statement. They're not the best fighters in the world, these things. And 14. Is that a hit?
It is.
It is a hit. Okay. It's 6 points of damage.
4 gets through.
Okay. Okay, and it is Nicholas Marty to go next.
Yeah, I'm gonna use Arcane Blast on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to use Arcane Blast on that one. Right, you are. So still appearing to be a giant
Mosquito. That's now somehow playing a hurdy-gurdy
as
with
far
its
as
little leggies.
and wait a minute, that one's outnumbered by 2, so that's a 12. Technically 3, I suppose, because tomorrow's right there. So that's a 13. That's just barely a hit.
Hey, and
Only
3
because it
points
has
of stun.
so many other opponents to. And 3 points of stunts. You're quite right. Yes.
Which would be combat stunts with Arcane Blast, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yeah, we believe so.
Well, I can't grapple it.
No.
Ooh, but could knock it prone,
Yes, you can knock it out of the air.
which would probably be a good thing. And these are the right stunts. Hang on. I don't think these are the right combat stunts.
Have you
Excuse me a
got-
sec.
That's okay.
Might have the wrong ones open.
Yeah, that's okay. I think we made the same mistake
Yeah.
last week
Page
as well.
36 from the main book.
Yeah.
Quick
Yeah, 2
question.
seconds.
Oh, there's nobody within range of that. I was going to say if there was somebody else within 6 yards of it, for 3 points you could shoot again.
I'm gonna. Actually, I'm gonna knock it prone and I'm gonna skirmish it back 1 square. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
It's caught.
So I'm just going to take the dead one off so it's not confusing matters.
I'm gonna skirmish it this way 1, so it's closer to Tamara to set up for an attack for her.
Right, okay.
Right.
So you hit it as it's banking and it kind of flips over, it does a loop-to-loop essentially, and comes out right in front of Tamara, whose sword's already stuck in the ground next to her, ready. And her shield's propped up against the same fallen tree trunk that she's put the lit dried plants on, so everything's ready. Okay.
Provided it survives this,
Provided it survives this, yeah.
which it obviously will, because that was pathetic.
It wasn't great. Has this one been hit? Oh no, it's the one back here that's been hit, yeah. That explains it. Okay, so that's 4 damage. 2 are absorbed by its armour, so 2 get through. So it is very, very lightly hit. Mosquito number...
Dusted slightly.
Sorry?
Just dusted slightly.
Just slightly. This mosquito here is going to come in and attack you because it's having none of this. You pretended to be a mosquito. 4, 6, 8, 10. Sorry, I was a mosquito before it was cool. It comes...
Hipster mosquito.
Hipster mosquito. Comes hurtling in.
It's wearing a little fedora.
And attempts to stab you with its face.
It has a mosquito bun and a beard.
And it's taken me a while for my dice rolls to come through this time, but that's a 17, so that's a hit. So it comes in and skewers Nicholas Marty in the fleshy bits with its big pointy face. I feel I could have done that description a bit better, but never mind.
Yeah.
This is the children's television version.
That's not PG.
5 points of damage. Okay, and this one's just going to head pretty much sort of straight at who it's looking at, which would be Tamara. So 1, 3.
That one doesn't have a prone marker on it, by the way.
9, 10 it will in a second. I've forgotten he knocked it prone as well, actually.
Yeah.
There we go. And there we go. This one's now in attacking Tamara, so she's now outnumbered 2 to 1. It is going
work
to...
well.
Sorry?
That didn't work well, my idea.
Oh, well, not to worry. It was worth a try. It's going to attempt to stab Tamara. It flies in low and thrusts down with its big pointy proboscis. 17, is that a hit?
Yes.
Yeah. Also, I just want to point out the proboscis isn't the bit you think it is. The proboscis is the mouth bit for slurping up nectar from flowers. You mean the stinger on the back, don't you?
No, mosquitoes have the
Mosquitoes have a
The
mouthpiece
blood
to
drinkers.
pierce
Yeah.
the.
Oh, right, okay.
They
It's
don't
only
Fair enough.
female mosquitoes, by the way.
Yes.
yeah. They stab you and drink. They drink your blood. They don't
Okay.
sting you with the tails. They're not bees or anything.
Okay.
And it's only to make eggs.
Yes. Yeah. Okay,
So I
so
thought-
that's a hit with 4 points of stun. So I'm going to have to look one of them up because it's a specialist mosquito attack. As a special 2-point stunt, the giant mosquito attaches itself to a target it hit this round. An attached mosquito automatically succeeds on a bite attack against that target every round thereafter. The target can use a minor action to attempt to detach the mosquito with an opposed strength might test. So, it's attached to you. It will also, doesn't really need to skirmish you, so it's got 2 other points of stunts. Let me just have a look at what it can do with 2 points of stunts.
Knock you prone.
It could knock you prone.
Knock you
It could
prone.
also do a mighty blow. It's probably
mighty
going to
suck.
need to, given the amount of armor she's wearing. So it will do 2d6 plus 2. So I'll just roll that one, and then we will also add that. So that's 4, 5, 7 points of damage. And
Okie dokie.
mosquito is attached and doing a slurp. I'll just find a marker that looks like an attached mosquito. Are we lucky?
Easier said than done.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Net one, web one, or whatever it is.
I'll just use this red bar. There we go.
Sucking the blood.
And it is Tamara to go next. So she can either attempt to detach the one that's sucking her blood, or she can attempt to detach its head.
I think detaching the one that's sucking our blood's probably the best idea.
Okay, it's an
Is
opposed.
that the wounded one, though?
No, the
Ah, yeah.
wounded. Yes, actually, it is quite badly wounded. In fact, very badly wounded.
Well, that's good. So I'm using the sword rather than the bow and arrows. I've opened the wrong character sheet. Oh my god, where's this sword going? Why is our kid
Oh, wait a
blast
minute.
here?
The target can use a minor action to attempt to detach the mosquito.
Oh,
So she
okay,
can do
right.
both.
Okay, how do I use the minor action? to
It
detach
is
the mosquito?
a opposed strength might test. Oh shit! I think she's going to win this one.
Suspect so.
So she needs to beat 14. The mosquitoes rolled
Oh
surprisingly well,
no!
and the dice roller has decided it hits you. So she hasn't managed to detach it. She grabs it with one hand and tries to pull it off. Its proboscis is still stuck in her, and it's refusing to let go. So instead, she just grabs a sword off the ground and swings down on the creature. Make an attack roll.
Which sword are we using? She seems
Giant
to have
killer.
two.
Giant killer.
Right. Okay.
It's our preferred sword now because it gets +1 to
Okay.
hit, so
Fair.
it's already built in.
Magic.
Does more damage as well, I think.
Oh, it does do more damage.
Yeah. Remember, it's giant killer against, yes, that's right, a normal
Yeah.
opponent. 18, that's a hit easily. So it's just pulling it back. It's refusing to let go. So she grabs her sword off the ground and slices down on the top of it, roll the damage, and cuts it in 2.
Get off me! Ah!
And
bugging her.
fatality. And that's the end of the round. So it's combat round 3. And it is Alderan to go.
Steps up onto the log.
Yeah.
And shoots at this one here that's on the ground.
Right you are. You step up.
Oh,
on
no,
the
he
log.
doesn't. He shoots at the far one.
Okay, you're going to shoot at the far one. That's fine
Yeah,
too.
shoot at the far one. Take the aim off because I've moved.
Mhm.
13.
13 is a hit.
How close to me is it?
It is.
Question.
I'm just checking something else. If you could give it a measure, that would be handy.
It's within 6.
Okay, it's within 6. Then you get extra damage, I seem to recall, don't you?
Plus 1 on it.
Yeah.
Okay. 15
15, okay.
total.
That's 15 points of damage. I suspect you've probably killed it. I just need to drop this in before I forget. Right, you are.
No, that was this one
over here, yeah?
the one which is attacking Nicholas Marty. Yeah.
Nicholas
Yeah.
Marty. So it's 15, that's 13 gets past its armour. So you've shot it in the side. It's in quite a bad way. The first shot hasn't killed it, but it's clearly done quite a lot of damage to it. And I'm just going to add a couple of things to the, because I've just realised this is combat round 3 and I should have added them by now. So that's oh god, it might happen that one of these goes before you, but it's probably not likely. Oh shit, I've added too many, it's only 2. There we go, so 1 there. Hanging vine, initiative.
A large mosquito over here says, "Sorry, Coach." In surprisingly good English. Oh, no, English. You were right. Jen's mom.
So yes, I'll need to reschedule this. Descending. Don't think it's going to make a great deal of difference with the shit rolls that those hanging vines got. So it's Alderan to go first.
I've just been.
Sorry, yes, so you have Courage to go next.
Well, I've got beast speech up, not plant speech.
Plant speech, that's right. Yeah.
Is there a dead mosquito at my feet?
Yes.
Or very close to it?
Close to it, yeah.
Okay. These things suck blood.
Yes.
Mosquitoes suck blood. There's a chance there's already blood in it. Minor action, can I pick a mosquito corpse up and throw it to the vines?
Yes, you can. You pick the mosquito corpse up and throw it to the vine, which is going to distract it and give it a -1 to hit this round, but actually they don't predate the mosquitoes because insect blood is very different to animal blood.
Oh no, I'm thinking it might be full of animal blood that it's drank.
I don't think it got a chance. I think it got killed beforehand.
No, I'm not necessarily off us, but prior.
No, it hasn't fed on anything else recently.
Fair enough.
Well, there's the one which bit Tamara.
The one that bit
Still
that one
attached to
would
it?
have. Yeah, there's not anymore. It's in 2 separate pieces. She killed it.
Oh, that's the one I'm throwing then.
Okay, in that case, that one does have blood, so I'm going to say that this vine doesn't act this round. It'll just drink the Tamara's blood that the mosquito's already drunk.
Seconds.
Yes.
Sloppy.
So the mosquito that was prone is now getting back off the ground and attempting to attack Tamara. I'll just remove the.
That was only my minor action.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead with your major one.
Arcane Blast on the closest one to me.
Okie dokie. Is that the closest mosquito to you? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That would be the one that's trying to get off the ground. It's flopping around at the moment. Okay, that is a hit because it's prone and also outnumbered. So you've hit with 4 points of stuns.
Fantastic. Definitely going to take a mighty blow.
Welcome back,
Sorry?
Sorry, I was talking to Louise. She's just come back. Welcome back, Louise.
Hi.
So, yeah, mighty blow and...
Mighty blow, knock prone.
Mighty blow, knock prone again. Right, I'll put the knock prone marker back on it. And roll the damage.
That's the standard damage, and here comes the mighty blow damage.
Oh, excuse me.
Ooh, 6.
15.
So that's 15 in total, so that's 13 gets through. It can't take much more punishment, this thing. It's thrashing around on the ground. You've hit it with this blast of magical energy. Bits of it have gone flying. It's in a pretty bad way. and it is the mosquito to go, so it tried to get back up, but you knocked it prone again. It will attempt to stab Tamara with its face, and that's the vine, you pillock.
It was just one thing. It was already prone to begin with.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's not prone, just keeps it prone.
Stay down.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll call it a stay down instead.
Oh, I thought it had got up and
Yeah,
I
it would have done,
No,
but it goes
'cause
after you.
Your go came before it.
Ah. Oh,
all
right.
right. Well, go on if you want to change it.
Oh, can I disarm it? Can I take its proboscis off?
Nope.
No.
No, because they're built in. That would
In
be
which
a
case-
name rather than a...
In which case, then, pierce armor.
Yes, you can. So it'll take additional 2 points of damage. So another -2. It's still hanging in there, but it's only just barely hanging in there. Okay, so
Barely.
it's going to attempt to stab Tamara with its face. It might as well aim, it's not getting up. Okay, that is 19 with 5 stunt points. So it's going to attach itself. It's going to knock her prone. And so it leaps, stabs her in the stomach, and then the force of it drags her to the ground. So it's now lying on top of her, drinking her blood. It's attached. She's down. I've still got some stunt points left. So I am going to do an extra dice of damage with those extra stunt points. So standard damage is 4, and the extra damage is 6.
Oh.
That's 10 points of damage to Tamara from the bitey mosquito.
Stabby McStabface.
Yes. And she's down as well now. She does kind of attract the hostiles, doesn't she?
She's a bit like the Meg of the party.
Yeah.
Not the Meg, the Mug of the party.
Another party, yeah. Okay, so Nicholas to go next.
I'm gonna have to try and take out that one that's in front of me.
Okay.
I'm gonna arcane blast it in the face.
Okay.
Or not.
I'm not gonna arcane blast it in the face.
Okay, so you blast a shot off and it just sort of flies around, banks to the side, sort of flies around you, and comes back. There you go. Nice try,
no.
but a miss. And
Oh no!
it is that mosquito. It's now going to attempt to retaliate it for your, I would say, unprovoked attack, but it's very much provoked.
It's like in your face.
I'm
Yeah.
just a really nice mosquito.
17
my
with 3
wings.
points of stunts,
Oh.
so it's attached to you now. And it will skirmish you into the river. So it hits you, attaches to you, and drags you round. You go sploosh into the, it's not a river, sorry, into the wet bit. So you're kind of sinking, worryingly, and also you've been stabbed in the face, stabbed in the stomach, and it is drinking your blood. So, on balance, this is not
Had
one
better
of your
days.
best days. Yeah. 8 points of damage.
Oh.
No, you're in some water.
Yeah.
You're a water mage.
Oh God, so you are, yeah. I had forgotten about that.
In your element.
Just going to attach
I am
that.
in my element.
And also,
Yeah, I have a new spell, but I don't want to use it because it's really expensive. But they'll regret it if I use it. They'll definitely regret it if I use it.
and you are in the
Do
order.
mosquitoes have lungs?
No, they breathe through the skin. They have
Yeah.
holes.
Damn it. Can't use it on
Okay,
them.
so it is Tamara Greyhawk to go next.
Oh no, they have air sacs. You can
Yeah.
actually do that
They
thing.
do breathe air, so.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Tamara to go.
Oh, sorry, shit, that's me.
It is,
Sorry.
yes.
Drag the insect off yourself.
Yes, that's my intention. That's a strength, yeah?
It is
Yeah.
strength might test opposed by its 0 strength and no might.
14, that's more like it.
That is much more
Yep.
like it.
And 5 points of stunts.
12. It's failed. So you've dragged the mosquito off Your boy.
Do it for the vine. Do it for the vine.
What, throw it at the vine?
Yeah, because it's got blood in it.
Yes, gosh, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do that. How do we do that?
From
Minor
where
action.
you are, I'll just let you do it. So you
It's
just
it's
Okay.
this one here. I take it. Yeah.
yeah. So you
Yeah.
fling it over yourself. You grab it off, fling it off, and over to where the vine is. You've still got a major action, so you can hit it with a sword as well if you'd like.
Absolutely. Hang on, let me turn her around.
You'll notice since I leveled her up, she's a hell of a lot better warrior than
Yeah.
because she actually covered 2 levels because she hadn't been leveled the last time. So it's
No, go away, aim action.
shit. That's a hit, and that's 1 stun point.
Stab and a push.
Yeah,
Or she could actually skirmish herself over the log away from the vine.
she could actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, so you slash the thing in the background, and then like brace your back against the log. You roll over it, landing
That's
there
damage.
and slicing the creature in 2. It just poof, dead in front of the strangle vine, but dead in 2 separate pieces, and bleeding Tamara's blood and its own.
Oh, lovely. I hope the vine doesn't like the taste.
So the first strangled vine is distracted by the blood-filled mosquito Curge threw at it. The second strangled vine is distracted by the blood-filled mosquito that Tamara threw at it. So it's combat round 4, and it is Alderan to go again.
Right. So I'm going to move. I take it. I can just move from where I am. 1, 2, 3, 6 to here.
Yep.
If I shoot at the, actually, I'll go to there.
Yep.
If I shoot at the insect, is there any chance of hitting Nicholas Marty at this point?
It's attached, isn't it? So only if you roll 3 ones.
I'm in water anyway. I can heal.
That's a very good
No.
point. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
Get this thing off me!
Boom.
Yeah, straight through. Thunk. 6 points of stunts. 20 to hit.
Will it survive 10 points of damage?
No.
It's dead then.
Right, you are. So you shoot it straight through the brain and kill it outright. It splooshes into the water.
All right. At this point, using those 6 stunt points, could I actually do another, something minor like help Tamara back on her feet?
Yes, I'll allow that. I'm going to take her prone off as you grab her arm and pull her back up to her feet. So you pull Tamara up onto her feet where she rolled over the top of the log. She's still got her sword in one hand. She reaches over the log to grab her shield as well. And it is Courage to go.
I'm not seeing any uncrossed enemies.
Yes, you
But
are.
there's
2
one
vines.
right
2
here
vines.
and one
Oh,
behind
right.
it.
What I should have said, I'm not seeing any uncrossed mosquitoes.
Oh no, there's no mosquitoes left. They're all dead. I think Tamara killed 3 of them and Algernon got 1. Yeah.
Right.
Which is
Can we just outpace the vines? Can we just walk? Well, possibly could outpace them if we weren't in a swamp.
I think you might still be able to actually. Hold on a
No,
second.
because you can run,
Yes.
right, which is a double move,
Yeah.
which would go down to half a move, right? Yeah, so you get a full move distance as a run, plus you would then get half that again.
It would certainly get you out of immediate combat range, which would mean we could go over to a chase as the vines try and chase you. You would have a distinct advantage because you all have a higher speed than the vines do by a long way. However, you would be running through an area with a lot of obstacles, so we would use the chase rules, but you would have a distinct advantage because you'd get out of the combat within the first round.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think running away is actually quite a good option. But it's
we didn't come in here to
I'll second that.
to kill vines. We didn't come in here to kill anything. We're trying to get through.
That's right.
So, standing and continuing to fight against something we could just walk away from, I really don't see the point.
We will have to kind of run a bit, but yes.
Yeah.
No, I agree. That's a good idea.
I'm going to remain disguised as a mosquito for this, just in case we run into any more.
That's also a good idea. Yeah, just a second.
With your wet wings.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
let me
really
shake
wet.
them off a bit, you know?
No, but you're an illusion, so you're a dry mosquito. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You wouldn't include the illusion of being wet.
Okay, so Kirch has the bright idea of running and yells to everybody, "Run!"
Scarpa.
At which point, Quoth takes off at high speed. Boom, gone. As fast as you've ever seen a raven flying, because it's terrified of these vines. And Kirch takes off after him at the run. The vines are kind of startled for a bit before they start slithering off after you. But unless something seriously slows you down, you're probably going to escape. We'll actually do it as a chase next week, just in case you get stuck in quicksand or something. Yeah, sorry, quagmire or something. But
Chickadee.
what's this? Yeah, okay. Okay, so I'm going to take it everybody else just takes off at the run as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so could I have a perception test from everybody, please? Perception seeing.
I closed my character sheet. Okay. I did. Bear with me.
That's okay.
I can't see shit.
Okay, so Nicholas doesn't notice. He just clambers out of this waist-deep puddle of filth and just starts running from these tangle vines. Tamara grabs the stuff she had propped against the thing and takes off at the run. Courage, your perception was 15, and Alderon's was 17. So you both notice something. If you look very closely at the markers I've put on Nicholas, you'll notice I've oddly put a snail on there. That's actually not a snail, it's an entirely different kind of invertebrate you might find in brackish marshy waters.
Leeches.
Yes.
Oh,
Marty, as you're running, you don't notice this, but the backs of your legs and the base of your spine, that